And we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome to the FreshandFit Podcast, man. We're here with Zuby.
Yep.
It's been a year. We're excited to have an interview with him again. Let's get into it, guys.
Let's go.
Yo, and we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome to the FreshandFit Podcast, regular edition. It's Friday. We're here with Zuby. Quick announcement before we get into the show, guys. Number one, patreon.com/FreshFit. Get all the behind-the-scenes content there, whether it's me kicking out annoying-ass girls and or all the behind-the-scenes content you guys can't get anywhere else, double dates, etc. We're also going to be filming our travels to London, so you guys are going to get a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff over there across the pond.
Hot.
Yeah, exactly. So check us out over there, guys. It's early in the month, so get in there while you can. We're also going to have a Zoom call with y'all probably before we go to London, either this weekend or next before we go. Also, check us out on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcast, guys. This is your last chance to check us out on there because we actually just
signed a
canceled. Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah. we're gonna be on another platform here soon. So, Chris, I guess you'll make the announcement next week?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, Chris, make the announcement for y'all.
Sponsored Fresh and Fit?
Somehow.
Who did that?
Somehow, yeah. So while you guys, I think we're going to keep the episodes that were on there before up. So anchor.fm/freshfit.
Yeah.
But right, is that what we're going to do, Chris?
I'll figure it out tomorrow.
Okay, fair enough.
Or just watch the YouTube channel, man.
Yeah, just watch the YouTube channel, guys. And then also, guys, check us out on discord.gg/freshandfit and then get the merch, freshhandpodcast.com. We got new designs coming. Christina's finally healthy, so she's going to be designing some stuff for us. All the slogans that you guys have come to learn and love. We got some funny shit coming. So check us out over there, freshhandpodcast.com. And then also, check out our other YouTube channel, guys. It's called Fresh Fit Clips. On there, we post clips. We no longer post clips on this channel. This channel is only the long-form podcast content. If you guys want the shorts and the clips, they're all on Fresh and Fit Clips, man. So go subscribe to that channel. Help us hit 265K on that channel, by the way, because we're trying to pass a certain hater.
Almost there.
And then also, guys, check out Fresh's vlog channel.
Guys, we did a live stream yesterday with 5 girls, me and Kevo, and we did Truth or Dare. It was hilarious, guys. I'm not going to lie, though. 2 girls were capping because on that podcast, they literally said, oh, we don't go outside. I have a boyfriend, whatever. They're in the club. We're with 2 Chainz. They're like, oh my God, is that 2 Chainz? I'm going to talk to him. I want to go home with him.
They said, I want to go home with him?
Wait, I went home with him?
Bro, they were hilarious, bro. And I'll say this. Girls on the podcast be capping. That's all I got to say. Anyhow, go ahead. they be capping, bro.
No, bro, you telling me.
They're like,
why do you think we got so many hats?
She's like, I'm a virgin. I'm like, bro.
What?
Really? Bro.
Which one said she was a virgin?
To the far right. It was like, bro, really?
The white girl?
Yes. So I'm like, bro. They're funny.
Man,
they're pretty funny.
Fuck out of here, bro. These girls be blatantly lying. Okay, so yeah, check that out, guys, if you guys want to see girls cap, I guess. And then also, guys, go check out my other YouTube channel. It's called Feta1811. On there, I break down criminal cases for y'all. I just did the Whitey Bulger case yesterday. I dropped it for y'all. And then this week, I'll probably do the biggest bank robbery in the United States. I'll probably drop that one for you guys next week. And then I'm still figuring out an episode to do for you guys for the live stream on Sunday. But we'll catch you there on Feta, man. Feta1811, where I break down criminal cases from my former experience. But anyway, fuck all that, man.
Welcome
we got
back to
Zuby in the
Zuby.
house.
Yeah, what's up, man? Happy to be here.
Yes.
Good to be back in MIA.
Yeah, no, we're happy to have you, man. Last interview we had with you was fantastic.
Thanks, man.
Really, really based perspective. I think we agree on like 95% of things as far as like how the world works and how we view
People
things.
want you back for sure, bro.
Yeah,
I'll
so you're like the clean cut version of us. So
Someone has to be.
It's always good to have you back, man. And you were here right before. What saga was that? The crazy the 3rd generation saga where we had the Great War of World War VII, I guess, on YouTube.
Ninja War.
The Great Ninja War, exactly. And Zuby was here right before that shit.
Yeah.
So, Zuby, we know who you are. Can you introduce yourself to the audience for those that may not know?
Yeah, sure thing. My name is Zuby. I'm an independent rapper, author, host of the Real Talk with Zuby podcast, public speaker, entrepreneur, Twitter troublemaker. A lot of people know me for a lot of different things. I'm originally from the UK. I grew up in Saudi Arabia, went to an international/American school up until 5th grade before I went to boarding school. I'm a graduate of Oxford University, studied computer science there before I left, worked in the corporate world for a couple years. And then in 2011, went and pursued my music full time and been self-employed now for about 11 years.
Mhm.
Added additional strings to the bow. I've written 2 fitness books. First one called Strong Advice, Zuby's Guide to Fitness for Everybody, came out in 2019.
Mhm.
And just released my first children's book in July
wow.
called
Okay.
The Candy Calamity, in conjunction with a company called Brave Books in Texas. So that's been doing really well, helping a lot of people, inspiring people. And I've been doing a lot of public speaking recently, been traveling around the States. Yeah. Speaking at different events, political events. I spoke at did something at the Bitcoin conference in Miami, heading out to Australia in October for the first time.
Down under.
Yeah, I've been booked to speak at a CPAC there, the
CPAC.
conservative conference. I didn't know there was even
In
a
Australia?
CPAC in Australia. Yeah, in Australia.
There's gonna be a bunch of purple-haired feminists pissed as hell outside. Cancel him.
Yeah. So, yeah, but bro, life is good, man. Lots of exciting stuff happened since last time we spoke.
Yeah,
That's
no,
dope.
absolutely. And real quick, because you guys are probably wondering writing children's books and stuff. Zuby is a model citizen, guys. Just so you know, you don't swear in your raps.
I don't swear in real life.
Yeah,
either, man.
he doesn't even curse in real life. Yeah, I don't, guys. Yeah, I know. I'm shocked too.
I'm gonna be honest, bro. Zuby's me if I became a pastor.
Yeah, and growing up real quick, because and we had discussed this before, but there's a lot of new people here that may have not remembered that interview. Growing up in Saudi Arabia, like you didn't grow up Muslim, right? Your family's Nigerian.
Yeah.
It was your father that had a job, if I'm not mistaken, in Saudi Arabia. And what was he involved in that had him living in Saudi?
Yeah, that's right. My dad's a medical doctor.
Yeah.
So he actually worked. You guys probably know Aramco.
Yeah.
It's like the biggest or second biggest company in the entire world, biggest oil company in the world.
Okay. Yeah.
They basically own like small towns out there.
Mhm.
So where I lived, everyone worked for the same company. So I'm what's called an Aramco brat.
Okay.
So shout out to all my fellow Aramco brats around the world. So that's where I grew up. I lived there for 20 years. Went to all my earliest memories are from Saudi. I went to preschool there, kindergarten to 5th grade. When I was 11 years old, I actually got sent off to boarding school in the UK. So from 11, I was flying back and forth between Saudi Arabia and England.
Were you going like 5 days a week to school there and then going back to Saudi Arabia?
No, I'd be there for the whole term.
Okay.
So
For months.
For months on end. So I'd go back to Saudi 3 times a year.
Okay.
So I've been traveling independently, internationally since I was 11 or 12 years old.
Mhm.
And then after that, I went to university. After that, did really well in school, studied computer science, and then started rapping when I was in my first year of university. Veered off, took this path. I completed my degree. I got the piece of paper. I've got that.
Of course. Nigerian parents wouldn't allow it any other way.
Of course, no other way, man.
Yeah.
No other way. And I've just been on an adventure, man, especially over the past decade since I went full time with my music. Life has just been a giant adventure. And it was a massive, massive grind. I used to sell my CDs on the street.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people, what's weird.
In the UK or in Saudi?
In the UK.
In the UK, right?
In the UK,
Because
yeah.
would you be able to sell your
In Saudi,
might be an issue,
I don't
right?
think it would work.
Okay, even though your music is clean.
Yeah, no, I don't think it would work.
No, facts.
Maybe in the little neighborhood I lived in, but there were only like 1,000 people there.
So real quick, because I think this is very important that people kind of see your background and how you were raised so that we can go into the other stuff.
Sure.
So growing up in Saudi Arabia, bro, what was, because like obviously you sound like an American, you speak, perfect English. You don't sound like you're British, but you lived in Saudi Arabia for most of your life, but you went to school in the UK. Are you an American citizen too, or just UK British citizen?
British and Nigerian.
British and Nigerian.
Yeah.
Okay. So
My brother.
what was it like being in Saudi Arabia versus being, you spent a considerable amount of time here in the United States and then obviously in the UK. What's the main differences between being there in the West?
Wow, man, that's a big question, dude. I mean, growing up, I had very heavy exposure to at least 4 very different countries and cultures growing up.
Mhm.
So being of Nigerian origin, Igbo to be specific, being born in the UK and then spending a lot of time back and forth in the UK, going to boarding school and university there. And then, of course, living in Saudi Arabia, very, very different country.
Yeah.
And then when I was in Saudi, I was surrounded by Americans and most of my teachers were American.
Okay.
And I was in the American school system. So I was in kindergarten to 5th grade before I switched over into the UK system.
Yeah.
So I've had very heavy exposure to all of those. And then on top of that, I've traveled to, I think, 38 different countries at this point.
Damn.
So I'm very much like a man of the world. So a lot of my perspective comes from a global perspective. I don't kind of have a standard American perspective or a standard British perspective or whatever. I've experienced these different countries and cultures. And the way that I think and the way that I process things is based on being able to kind of make those comparisons and see the pros and cons of different types of societies and cultures and ways of doing things. Because if you're born and raised, say, in California, right? everybody assumes that the way they grow up is the default.
Yeah.
Right. So
True.
you have a certain type of worldview, society, culture, way things are done, even the way that the laws are structured and the way everything is, you just think that that's the norm. And then even if you go to, even not even going outside the US, if someone from, who grew up in Malibu goes to, El Paso, Texas, or goes to Alabama or something,
culture shock.
They're gonna get a bit of a culture shock. Let alone if they go out to the Middle East, if they go to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, something like, or they go to parts of Africa.
Yeah.
And with me, just from a really, really young age, I've been blessed to have the opportunity to see so many different ways of doing things. And you notice there's some real deep differences, and then there's the stuff that's kind of more superficial. So for example, like something superficial, when I was growing up, so in Saudi, the days of the week run from Saturday to Wednesday.
Yes.
Right. So Saturday is the first day of the week.
Wait, what?
Right. Yeah. Because it's an Islamic country. So the holy day is Friday, not Sunday. Right. So the weekend is Thursday and Friday. So for me growing up, the weekend was Thursday and Friday.
No one works on Friday.
Yeah. Yeah. Then when I came to the UK, I was like, oh, wait, like there's this little shift. So that's something that's like minor, but it's interesting. And then you have things that are a lot deeper.
Yeah.
Right. You have things that are a lot deeper. So to understand a country like Saudi Arabia, or to understand other Middle Eastern countries, you have to understand that things are based on Islam.
Yep.
Things are based on different traditions, different histories. There isn't this sort of liberty is not the primary value in every country. This is something that's so important for Westerners to understand.
Yeah. So true.
Because, if you think of any country, most places almost have like a totem pole of things that they value. So in the USA, at least theoretically, I'd say this hasn't been upheld
this one on paper,
over the last few years, right?
Yeah.
But the USA is based on the concepts of liberty, freedom, right? Took a long time to extend that to took a long time to extend that to everyone. But in theory, you'd say that's kind of the primary value of the USA.
Absolutely. Yep.
So that is how the society, the structure, the laws, and so on are ordered. It's ordered primarily around, look, as long as you're not hurting anyone or whatever, you generally have individual rights, liberty, you can do what you want.
Yeah.
A lot of Westerners don't understand that that's not the fact that's not the standard across the entire world, right?
Point.
There's other places where the primary thing they want to encourage and maintain is not liberty, right? It might be adherence to a certain religion.
Yep.
Right. It could even be safety. Right. It could be safety. It could be like, yeah, cool, liberty, freedom, that's cool. But no, we prioritize safety and security here. Or it could be we prioritize adherence to our religion and our tradition here, and so on. So I think that people, no matter where you're from, you can understand other countries and other cultures and other people better if you can understand that not everyone has the same ranking of I'll tell you an amazing example of this. I don't know if you guys saw just I think it was 2 days ago, there was this CNN interviewer who was interviewing the new president-elect of Kenya.
Okay.
Have you seen this interview?
No, I didn't see this interview. But...
And she's like, the guy wants to talk about, there's like 5 million hungry people in the country. There's like 5 million people without jobs and so on. He wants to talk about, poverty and the economy and jobs, raising people out of poverty and so on. And she's just digging at him on homosexuality and LGBT.
Oh my
stuff,
God,
right?
Here we go.
And he's like, yo, this is not a priority to Kenyans. Like this is not a big, and she just won't let it go.
Yeah.
And it's just this idea, like to her, this is like the primary core issue. And whether I don't know if it's just ignorance or arrogance, maybe ignorance.
Ignorance.
That's a new one right there.
and she's just pressing and pressing it. And they've done this with other African leaders.
Was she a feminist?
You can assume so.
Yeah. She's on CNN. She probably swings left a little bit, and they think our way of thinking is the best way. And which is a very Western ideology to have.
Yeah, that's the thing. And people don't understand that. I posted this on Twitter yesterday and it went viral. I said, people need to understand that tolerance is a two-way street. And it's crazy to go around running around that everyone be extremely tolerant of you if you're extremely intolerant of them.
Dude, oh my God. I went on a rant about this last week.
Okay.
And I talked about this, and we could talk about this after with Andrew Tate, but I talked about how the left and the liberals in general, not all, but a lot of them will sit there and say, I'm tolerant of whatever you decide, whatever you identify as, blah, blah, blah. They'll be tolerant of all the crazy clown world shit, but they will not be tolerant of anyone that has conservative views to any degree. And I've always said it, they only use tolerance when it benefits them.
Exactly.
You know, so I like, but at the same time, they'll be like, oh, wait, no, you're saying something that I disagree with that doesn't swing left. We want you canceled.
Do you know what that's called? It's called repressive tolerance. It's a strategy by a guy named Marcuse.
Bam.
Over the
now there's a term on it. I like that.
Yeah. It's called repressive tolerance.
I'm gonna tell all these bimbos that.
Yeah.
You're repressively tolerant, bitch.
Because the thing with a lot of people like that is they have their ideologies and ideas and these things that they spout, but oftentimes they don't actually know the academic history of their own ideas.
Fantastic, yeah.
Which is kind of funny, right? So the people pushing some of the feminist theory, critical race theory, the gender ideology, and so on. If you ask them who John Money is, they don't know.
Yep.
If you ask them who Alfred Kinsey is, they don't know. You ask them about Mark Hughes, Saul Alinsky, they don't even know who the people who fed them these ideas are.
Yeah.
But they've been passed down through academia and then through Hollywood and so on. Yeah. And so you've now got people saying certain phrases and espousing these ideas, and it's like you don't even know where that idea came from.
Yeah.
You don't even know that. Like I have a better I don't even believe that crap.
Yeah.
And I have a much better understanding of where it came from. The Frankfurt School. Yeah. Right. That's where these ideas come from, right? The postmodern ideologies and from downstream, all these theories and
but that's what the you know, these crazy liberals fail to understand, is that for us to be able to challenge them on their views, right? If you tend to be a little bit more conservative or libertarian, for you to be able to challenge their views, you must understand them first. Yes. But they don't exercise that same level of understanding on the other side if it doesn't align with their belief system. Like me, for example, right? I disagree with a lot of things on, you know, that these liberals tend to say, feminists, whatever it may be, these egalitarians, but I'm able to articulate why, because I understand their viewpoints. But them, on the other hand, they don't necessarily understand our viewpoints on this side, and they'll just be like, well, you're wrong because you're a bigot, and they'll call you a name. They want to attack the argument, they'll go ahead and attack you. Did the same thing with Andrew. You're a misogynist, you're a bigot, blah, blah, blah. But what about what he said is incorrect? And it's fucking crickets.
Yeah, well, this is the problem. You know, I've actually gotten to the stage where I don't call people like that liberals anymore. Because they're not. They're not.
Yeah, what do you that's a good point. What do you call them?
Authoritarian leftists. You can call they're authoritarians, right? That's not if you are a liberal, you can't be a liberal and be opposed to freedom of speech. Right? I mean, the word liberal stems from the word liberty. Right? Liberalism is all about, classical liberalism is about individual rights, freedom of speech, freedom of association, this and this. If someone is intolerant of everything outside their very narrow window, I'm like, bro, I'm more liberal than you are. I don't call myself a liberal, but by proper definitions, like I will talk to anybody, right? I could be sitting here right now. You could bring on someone who's a straight up communist, right? Who thinks you Marxist. What I'm like, yo, I'll listen to you. I'll talk to you. I won't even attack you. I'm not going to sit here and just say, oh, you libtard, you commie, whatever, right? Like I'll listen to you, and I want to hear your arguments. Like let's have this back and forth, because I want to understand the perspective, because I'm actually liberal in that sense, like in the proper sense. I don't want anybody deplatformed. Yeah, I agree. There are people on the internet. I'm sure you guys feel the same, right? Just like there's people who don't like what I say or who don't like you say or whatever. We would never activate for someone to get deplatformed. We would never call like, no, we need to get this guy kicked off. We need to get this even if we think their ideas are absolutely
we roast H3 almost every episode, but we do not want them to get deplatformed.
Exactly. If he got deplatformed, I imagine you'd stick up for the principle. Yeah. Right? It's not.
I would.
This is another
thing. I'll say fuck Ethan, but he shouldn't get deplatformed.
This is another thing people don't get, right? Because we live in this emotionally incontinent time where people think their feelings, their subjective feelings and emotions and what they like and what they don't like is everything. And I operate off of principles, right? So you brought up Andrew Tate, right? Yeah. You know, before we've had, the deplatforming of Trump, many other people. And you might dislike him personally. Someone might dislike what he says, whatever, right? Yeah. That doesn't matter. If you support freedom of speech and you are actually liberal, you are actually tolerant, you have to accept that you have to tolerate people. You have to understand, look, there's going to be people out there. There's going to be things I don't like. There's going to be people I don't like. I mean, imagine you can go on Spotify right now. You can go on YouTube. How much stuff that you would find objectionable can you find on the internet? How many books have been written that you don't like? How many songs are you going around trying to say, well, I don't like it, so nobody is allowed to listen to it? This thing cannot even exist. Yeah. That is crazy. That's not just authoritarian. That's totalitarian.
I think the problem is if you cancel someone that you don't like, right? That opens the floodgates to say, you know what? Just because I don't like it, I'm gonna cancel it. Yep. But at the same time, let's say they don't like you either. So it's like, yes, you can cancel that person, but guess what? Now anyone that you don't like can be canceled, even yourself. So now everyone's gonna have to take that L.
What's that term again? Authoritarian liberals? What was it? Authoritative.
Oh, authoritarian leftists.
Authoritarian. Yeah, I like that term. These authoritarian leftists don't understand the basic concept that an injustice for one is an injustice for all.
Yeah.
And they're willing to sit there and like cancel one person, not understanding that might have long-term consequences on everyone else, to include yourself, you weirdo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I say, don't bring weapons to the party that you don't want used against you.
Bam. There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that, these things change quickly. Right. So what is considered fringe today, or who's considered on the outside or whatever? I mean, you actually saw that. We saw this. We don't want to go too deep on the Rona stuff, but you saw this over the past couple of years, right? There's things people were saying in 2020 or in early 2021 and whatever. And at the time it was like, oh no, like you can't say that. People were getting deplatformed for it. Now it's the mainstream narrative, right? So there could be someone who you're like, okay, this guy, we think this guy is crazy, or we think this or whatever. And it's like, I'm just like, yo, let everybody talk. Like, I'm big on freedom of expression. Let everyone talk. There's so much stuff every single day I see that I think is objectionable, right? Or I think is sometimes outright immoral, just wrong, gross, sick, whatever. And it's like, yo, that is allowed to exist, right? That is allowed to exist. And do you know what you can do if you don't like something? You don't have to consume it.
Yeah,
that's true.
If you don't like Fresh and Fit, you know what? You don't have to watch it.
Facts.
You don't have to listen.
Yeah, it amazes me how they hate us, but they watch us.
Yeah, if you think Joe Rogan is despicable and he's an idiot and he's this and that, no one is forcing you to listen to, consume, watch anything that you don't like. That's up to you. So instead of trying to nerf the world, just use your own discretion,
freedom of choice,
and make yourself stronger. This is a big problem I think that's happening in the West. What's happening is we've gone from survival of the fittest to tyranny of the weakest, right? So instead of trying to make people stronger and more resilient emotionally, physically, so on and so forth, it's like, let's make everything like, let's just nerf the world, right? No, let's make it so that nothing offensive even exists. Let's make everything easier. Let's lower the bar, instead of just telling people like, look, you exist in the real world. You're going to come across people you don't like. Some people are going to be assholes to you. Not everyone is going to be cool. You're going to be offended by certain things. Deal with it, right? Become strong enough, become emotionally resilient enough to deal with it. Instead, it's like, okay, no, we'll deplatform that person to make it safe. Right? They've weaponized all the safety language. It's all safetyism. Now this person made me feel unsafe.
Yeah.
This is harmful. This is dangerous. That's how they deplatform Tate, right?
That's the actual exact. They said that it was incitement of like dangerous organization is what it basically said.
Yeah. And you know what? Why that policy exists, or what it's supposed to exist?
It's
for.
vague.
Well, originally it's so that the Ku Klux Klan doesn't have an official Instagram page to be like spitting there, right? Like, so they basically put him in the same category that you put terrorists. Yeah. Right. Dangerous organizations and individuals.
It's very vague though.
It is vague. It is vague.
Purpose.
But the original intention of that, I imagine, being charitable here, is so that, okay, cool. Like, we don't want Al-Qaeda and we don't want ISIS recruiting on Facebook. Yeah. So we need some policy where we can ban terrorist organizations. Yeah. And so, but they've basically just lumped him in that same category. Right. And just say, oh, well, we say this person is dangerous, and you don't need to find any piece of content specifically that violates the rule. They can just go, oh, he's dangerous, and that's it. And because people are NPCs, they just repeat it. Right. So I'm sure you guys have seen so much stuff. People just running around saying, oh, last year it was misinformation and disinformation. Anything someone he's spreading misinformation. He's spreading hate. He's a misogynist. He's a transphobe. He's a racist. He's a white supremacist, whatever, even if the guy is black, like, they don't care. And I think in the short term, the truth is, in the short term, this can be kind of an effective strategy. And this is why people do it. This is how the social justice warriors have been running the show for the last few years and so on. But I do think that the tide is turning, actually. I think that it might get a little worse before it gets better, but I'm finding that more and more people are going, it might just be selfishly because they can see that they're starting to perhaps be affected by it. They're starting to feel the heat a little, but I'm seeing way more people now who are speaking up against this and speaking up. Like, if you go back to 2017 or whatever, very few people were willing to speak out any of this in any way or to push back against it. Now I'm seeing a lot of different voices in different spheres. Like, you know what? Like this whole
people are waking up. I agree with you that
yeah.
people are definitely waking up, and actually, I think it's people are waking up faster than I thought they would. Especially, shout out to Andrew Tate, people like him, ourselves, etc. We kind of been pointing out this information that, hey, pushing back against cancel culture, being politically correct, etc. And I also want to say something too, because you said something very profound. It used to be survival of the fittest, but now we're in tyranny of the weakest. And I gotta agree with you. I was watching. I don't watch TV often, but yesterday I was watching a Netflix show. It was called Ohio something. Devil in Ohio. Right?
You watched that by yourself?
Yeah. Well.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Don't lie to camera.
Guy, man. Yes, I had someone watching it with me.
There you go.
But it was actually not too bad. But the point I'm trying to make is this. That's not the point of the show. That's a newer Netflix series, right?
Yeah.
And in it, right, I watch it with a certain lens on nowadays, a red lens. And I was able to see so many little underlying things that put certain types of protected classes in a position of authority or in a certain light. And I was like, what the fuck? Why are they making the guy that looks like a pussy be like the good guy versus the dude that's the villain is like the toxically masculine Chad or athlete?
Yeah.
And it's no mistake, right? Let's champion like the colored lesbian woman, right? But make the guy that is getting the guy that like had the girl before that woman took her from like bad. And I was like, holy shit. And this has been going on TV for a while, right? Yeah. The bastardization of traditional masculinity in general. But now it's out there in your face. Like they don't even care anymore. It's like, yo, we're gonna champion, women, colored people, homosexuals, people that are ambiguous from a sexual standpoint. We're going to champion them, and let's go ahead and demonize anyone that's traditionally masculine, which always ends up being a fucking white guy. Yeah. Right.
And I think. Good. No, you go ahead first. Go ahead.
Just real quick. So, like, just after that point. Yeah. So, you don't attack a country that's very strong, face forward, frontward, right? What you do is you attack from the inside. Yep. And once again, if you're weakening men, you're saying, you know what, this is what a real man is by being soft, being weak. What happens is men become less of men. And as a result, let's say we go to war. Who are we going to fight with? Gay people? I'm just saying, like,
and Twitch.
Yeah, we got to kill Twitch and Facebook right now. No offense to anybody that chooses that lifestyle, but let's be honest, man. I mean, the traditional masculine guy, right, is considered toxically masculine now. Being a man is looked at as terrible. Sorry, go ahead.
And then even when it comes to like control, right? If I'm weak and I would say, you know what, I'm just going to go with the flow. I don't want to fight anything. Guess what? Now, if I say, here's what it is, you say, you know what, cool. As you are the power above me, I'm not going to fight you. I'm just going to like agree with it. So I'm just saying, look, when you weaken men, you weaken resistance, you kind of breed people that just want to follow any type of leader. And as a result, let's say the leader is bad. Like, let's say, for example, a corrupted government, then you're screwed.
That kind of ties back. Oh no, go ahead, and then I'll tie back to what you're saying.
Yeah,
before.
Man, I was just thinking. We're living in an overcorrection. That's what's happening, right? So I think that if you look at the progress of human society, it's like the stock market, right? Over the long period of time, it's generally trending upwards and generally getting better. I don't think any of us, if we're being honest, would say that our grandparents or great grandparents had it easier than we do overall, right? Yeah. The world is definitely better now in 2022 than it was in 1922 or let alone 1822. Yeah. However, in terms of the society and the culture, we've made some regressions, I think, over the past decade, right? I think things have overcorrected to the point where I use a Pac-Man analogy where, like, if you go to the far left, you come back out like on the far right. Have you noticed how actual far left and actual far right people, they actually agree on a lot of things. They just get there from roundabout ways. Like, they're both pro-racial segregation, and they both like have this weird race essentialism views, and they're weird. They're both willing to use like the force of the government to like crack down on individual liberty.
Like, you look at Black Lives Matter. What is the difference between them and the KKK?
Not much.
Let's keep it 1,000. What is the difference between the Ku Klux Klan is a domestic terrorist organization? What is the difference between them and Black Lives Matter? They're doing the same shit. They're burning down buildings, fucking up businesses, etc.
The Ku Klux Klan is more honest about their motives. They're more clear. They're more clear about the message. Yeah, but I think that's the problem, right? We're not like most people who are somewhere around the middle, left leaning, right leaning, whatever, just not at these polar extremes. we're beyond this thing of just wanting to like judge people based on these random immutable characteristics, right? And which is why it's hilarious when they'll start, calling me far right or calling us Nazis, right? Like, it's like, bro, like we're the ones who we're not on that. Like we don't really care. Like you do you, whatever. But yeah, I think we're living in an overcorrection, and I think that so many problems that we have now in the modern West, particularly in the USA, they're no longer problems of lack. They're actually problems of abundance, right? Life has been so comfortable.
Obesity. So easy. Laziness.
Of course, man. Of course. I mean, I remember last time I was in Nigeria, I was talking to a random young guy who was like 18 or 19. And I've told this story before, always sticks to me what he said. Because he really wanted to come to the States. He hadn't left Nigeria before. And I was just like, I only talked to him for a couple minutes, but he was like kind of, I think I was saying something about going to the US, and he was like, I want to go to, and I was like, cool. Like, why do you want to go to the US? And he said something which I think he thought was really flippant, but to me it was so deep. He said, because in the USA, even the poor people are fat.
Damn.
Wow.
That's a good point.
Wow.
Right. And point. I was like, that's actually kind of deep when you think about it.
Yeah. When you actually peel back the layers, like that's crazy.
Yeah. Obesity is starvation is not a problem in this country.
No.
Right. It's obesity. Right. All the stuff we're talking about, the fact that people are even having these discussions and are getting so soft and whatever, it's because the real problems have been dealt with.
I got a funny story on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll never forget this. I went to go eat at this restaurant, Mediterranean spot here in Miami. This was back in 2018 when I first moved here. I didn't finish my food and I walked out and I had like some of this stuff in like little
curry.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, it wasn't even curry. It was Arab food. But this homeless guy walked by. Yo, I'm hungry, bro. Yo, man, can you help me out? I was like, hey, listen, I didn't finish my food. Here you go. And I handed it to him. He goes, oh, no, I'm good, man. I don't eat curry. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what the fuck? Like, bro. And I was like, what the hell? But, and that was like my first taste of like Miami, just ridiculousness, right? But at the same time, it's like, we are so spoiled for choice where even the homeless people can say some shit like, yo, I don't eat curry. Mm-hmm. So that just goes to show how spoiled we are here in the United States. And going back to real quick, and I'll read the chats here in a second, guys. Because you were saying, we were talking about if certain countries don't prioritize certain things. Like, for example, in the Middle East, they don't necessarily prioritize liberty. They're more concerned with like adhering to Islam, right? Which is why Sharia law is typically practiced in a lot of Arab countries. But a byproduct of that a lot of times is that they're police states, which means they're extremely safe, right? But the negative is, sometimes you're restricted. And I've always said you can't have the utmost liberty while simultaneously having the utmost security.
Agreed.
One has to give for the other one to exist at its fullest potential. And, with the utmost liberty, that's going to come with sometimes a lack of security. That's why you got school shooters acting wild, etc., because we have a Second Amendment right here. And that's kind of what comes with the territory. But I think what you were saying as far as like that woman, right? For example, the CNN interview, she's so, I guess, stuck in her ways and indoctrinated that the West is the best way to go and we got to fight for civil rights and gay people should be able to marry. It's like, bro, you're not like we're in such a privileged position where food isn't an issue, whatever. You can only look at minute, stupid details like that. No offense to, civil liberties, whatever. But when you're in a place of abundance is the truth. Is the only time you can look at that stuff.
And I'll tell you why it's also extra arrogant is because even 20 years ago in the West, like the views on those things were not where they are now. Right? Like when was gay marriage? When was gay marriage even legalized? 10 years?
Like 12 years, like 2010, 2011, somewhere in that range. Yeah, somewhere in that range. Yeah,
2012. Right? Obama in 2007, 2008 was opposed to it.
Yeah,
Hillary Clinton was opposed. Like the Democrats were opposed to it.
Yeah,
less than 15 years ago. Right? And it's like, oh, okay, you've had this enlightenment, and now all of a sudden, like that, you expect the entire world, all 8 billion people, to just fall in line, forget their religion, forget their culture, forget their traditions, forget the thousands of years leading up to this point. You think that they should just, oh, well, we became enlightened, just now. So everyone else, we must demand it.
I remember, 10 years ago, like when Occupy Wall Street and all that stuff was going on, like people like, shout out to Tim Pool. They were looking at him like he's he was like a crazy liberal. Nowadays in 2022, they look at him like a wild alt-right motherfucker. Like, you a Trump supporter, you bigot, blah, blah. So that just goes to show you guys like how people that were liberal 10 years ago were considered progressive. Now they're considered like crazy alt-right wingers, conservatives.
Yeah, if you just stay the same.
Wow. If you just stay the same, exactly.
but there's a point you brought up actually earlier, which is such an important point.
Yeah.
Which is about trade-offs.
Yeah.
And this is something that people don't like to recognize, right? Which is that, especially when it comes to politics, but truly when it comes to most things in humanity, things are always trade-offs. It's always a trade-off, right? So a great example is what you brought up, liberty and freedom and safety and security.
Yeah.
Right. There are some trade-offs here.
Yeah.
And people don't like to acknowledge this. Let's take freedom of speech.
Yeah.
What's the main argument people have against freedom of speech is, oh, well, what if someone says something that's hateful and nasty and whatever, right? And it's number one, of course, who's to determine that? But the thing is, yeah, acknowledge. I'm like, okay, that is a trade-off, right?
Yeah.
That's a trade-off. I think this is a worthwhile trade-off. I think that censorship and forcing people to not say things and this and that and using the force of the state and the government to impose upon that, I think that is a greater threat than the threat of some people saying some objectionable stuff sometimes. So like, cool, this is a trade-off. Which way are we going to go? And like we said, different countries, different societies, different legal systems decide this differently. But with everything, like everything is a trade-off. And I think that if people thought more in that sense, we could probably have better conversations and more honest conversations, because we could be like, okay, well, we want to do this thing. We want to push this policy. And it's like, okay, well, what are the trade-offs? There's going to be a financial cost most of the time, right? Yeah. So there's going to be a financial cost. It's going to have this effect. It's going to have that effect. Is it worth it? Is it sensible? And many people, and this happens across both sides of the political aisle and, social spectrums, but people don't think in terms of trade-offs. They just want to say, oh, let's just do this policy and it's going to be all upside. It's like, no, nothing is all upside, man. You open that door and you're going to get some new problems. You might deal with some existing ones, but typically you're going to get new problems. So it's always this balance.
Damn. All right. So I'm going to hit the chats real quick because I got another thing I want to double down on what you just said, because you just said something really sharp. Griot's Vision, $10. Thanks. Thankful for Rod, Eric, and y'all for making this amazing music video for Big Mo, a reality check out on Big Mo, BTW, FNF Dallas. Don't forget the memo to believe in Big Mo, because that's the MO. Shout out to you, Griot's.
All right.
Marriage caused divorce, $5 all the way from Great Britain. Myron is 1,000% right about girls' trips. Watch Fresh's last stream. Girls' trip plus BBC plus diamond chains equal 304 time. RIP Evan, he lost his girl. Damn. $10 from Greg Van Slow. Any chance we can get another conspiracy podcast? Roll thinks we landed on the moon. Okay. $20 from Cannoli Productions goes, y'all better not Logan Paul the shit out of that London trip. Hate to see y'all cancel. Much love. P.S. Fresh better upgrade your speech from Windows 98 to Windows 10 by the end of that trip. Okay, we'll see. And then we got
Simpson.
Have you heard of Illinois Safety Act? From what I've read, seems like they're going to go soft on criminals, even if they committed second-degree murder or kidnap. Maybe it's fake news. I don't know. I didn't hear about it. Fresh, can you read some of these?
Kim Chillin says, she definitely wasn't a virgin. Bro, that is definitely up for debate. Who knows, though? Nick Lima says, this is about to be a fire show. Shout out to Zuby and FNF. Now, we just need an FNF show with Zuby and Eric July. Whose takes are more bar none? Whose takes are bar none? Okay. Face Reaction FNF says, Fresh. Skydiving was amazing. Thank you for the inspiration. Now we have to convince Myron to jump.
Hell no.
He ain't doing that.
$20 from Corium goes, Zuby in the house. Let's go. Time to get fired at work. Just cop the premium hoodie with the old slogan on it, but screw it. 1 mil on the way. BBC gang, we up. Absolutely. Transformers, Simpson Pimps. Josh Angel and Hell goes, or Angel. Yo, love the work, guys. I need some advice. I'm trying to get into real estate game, which are some markets do you recommend are great for beginning. P.S. I live in LA.
Go to Vegas.
Florida, Texas, and Vegas is close to you. So Vegas is a good market. Seymour Butts. Okay. The W Florida rejection of Pride History Month. Okay. I love these collaborations. And this is from Frank Sonara, the Foxtrot. Yes, I love when Zuby's here, guys. It's always high IQ. Yeah. I love these collaborations. Zuby always dropping life gems, not on this platform, but on all platforms. He should be, in addition to FNF Justice League team, keep leading by example, gentlemen. Yeah, we could actually. It's just that he's never in town when we have the other guys here.
He's over here.
Around the time Zuby came on last time, no, will not, my friend Christopher Harris. $5 from Josh Smith, but I appreciate you want the ninja arc to come back. The Zuby speak Arabic. Keep up the good work, Zuby.
Unfortunately not.
He's not. Nice of you to have the world's strongest woman. Yes, he is the world's strongest woman. That's actually how you went viral, saying that you are now the world's strongest woman by beating the deadlift record on a regular gym session.
Good times.
Legendary.
Patty Jackson, $20. Here's some dark humor. The Queen found out Fresh and Fit was coming to London in 2 weeks and said, how dare you, and had a heart attack. The red pill is going international.
How dare you?
Ouch, man.
Bro.
Leaks V. Anytime you talk about Lasan, please clip that video of him inviting dudes to his house and make them dress up in lingerie. What the hell?
What?
Whoa. That was a little bit.
I did not know that. Sheesh. And then, guys, from this point forward, we're going to only read 20 and up. I'm going to read these ones that came in, though. I don't hate these wackos in a vacuum, but the reshaping society to benefit themselves and going after children to brainwash them. School's dead now. Yeah, it's bad. Fresh, you trying to end up on TikTok, aren't you? And that's from Corey M.
Why?
I don't know why. NRT goes, they're not social justice warriors. They're social vengeance warriors trying to get revenge for their perceived slights against them. It's in their heads. Only you choose to be a victim. Why would you want to be a victim? True. The founder of Netflix, Mark Bernays Randolph, is directly related to the father of modern propaganda and social engineering, Edward Bernays, and famed psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud. Probably nothing. Okay. Nice coincidence there, my friend. I see you connecting the dots. 14 books from Frank Sinaro goes, you cannot have both liberty and security. One has to be sacrificed. Tim Kenny wants explicit details on this. Absolutely. And I can tell you guys from a former law enforcement perspective that when the Patriot Act was passed, rights were violated, my friends. If you guys don't believe me, look up a guy named Edward Snowden. 20 bucks from Yves Simonis goes, Zuby, hook them up with the Candace Owens interview. She's the GOAT. Okay.
Candace is cool.
And then Christian Bonilla, $5 goes, hey, Zuby, what do you I think he means to say, what do you think about the constant push of EVs? What are the backlash on car manufacturers?
Man, look, I don't know. They're trying to push some weird agendas here. I have no beef with electric vehicles. Like electric vehicles are fine. Like, Teslas are cool or whatever. But this desire to ban the sale of petrol vehicles and to, force everyone to eat bugs and live in pods and all that stuff that they've been pushing for the last few years, this whole great reset. I mean, it's wild because they're so open with it now. It used to be a little more like quiet, and then Klaus Schwab's like, okay, well, we're going to create the Great Reset website, we're going to write a book about it, literally call it the Great Reset and whatever. And it's weird because you talk to people about it, like, come on, that's a conspiracy. I'm like, bro, like the book is on Amazon.
Yeah, it's wild, bro. Like,
people still deny it. Yeah.
So going back to what you're saying, you were talking about trade-offs. And one thing I've noticed about people, and this I really noticed this when I was in college, but it's been more accelerated since I've graduated. For those of you guys that are wondering, I went to college at Northeastern University in Boston, Massachusetts, extremely liberal city, and they were on this woke bullshit even back then. Yeah. But now it's gotten even worse. And they were talking about loan forgiveness back then in 2013, but people were kind of like, is that feasible? Blah, blah, blah. But now it's like, yeah, let's go ahead and get all loans erased, etc. But they don't understand that there's a trade-off for that. Who's going to pay for it? And one thing that I've noticed in general with people that tend to be on this authoritarian leftist, wrote it down, I like that, is that they don't understand that there's a trade-off with everything that you do. Yes. For example, when we have this podcast with the girls, hey, understand that when you get a career and you make money, the trade-off is you are not going to be able to be attracted to a large majority of men on the sexual marketplace by default, which will make it very difficult for you to find a partner. We know that by not finding a partner as a woman, being more interested in people, your likelihood of having long-term happiness goes down alongside with it. Yeah. Oh, what do you mean? I should be able to have it all. And I think this is something that people on that side of the, think that they can have it all. We can go ahead and just get our loans forgiven. We can go ahead and, just have all this debt and no big deal is going to happen. We can go ahead and chase careers, etc., and push off having children and, just be hoes without any type of consequence. And this is something that I've noticed from authoritarian leftists. I like that term, though, because if you look at the literal sense of liberal, yeah, you're supposed to be tolerant of other people's viewpoints. But these people don't understand that everything comes with a cost, and they don't want to pay the fucking cost. No. You want to chase a career and become a doctor as a woman, fantastic, chase that career. But why the hell should a guy that's a multimillionaire go ahead and settle for you? Or why is it that it's okay for you as a woman to have the privilege of not understanding what men want, however you think that you deserve a top shelf guy? And this is something that I've noticed is a faulty thinking pattern on that side of the internet in general, and it kind of just clicked for me now when you mentioned trade-offs. Yeah. Oh, well, I want to be able to eat all the food that I fucking want, be a fat piece of shit, and it's okay, and it's not okay. Or I should be able to have a good body while eating McDonald's, and that's just not how it goes.
You know, it's a very childish way of thinking.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Like, to me, it's like some people are locked into this permanent childhood or adolescence, and they don't grow out of it, right? And if you talk to a child or you look at the way a child reasons or doesn't reason, they don't really understand trade-offs, and they don't understand like long-term consequences. That's not fully developed in the brain until 25, right? So that's why with children at some point, sometimes you just have to tell, say because I said so, right? And yeah. Why? Why can't I eat candy for breakfast, right? You can't always logically explain it to them until they're at a certain age. And there's adults who are like that for whatever reason. They just failed to mature. And they don't understand just how the world works. And the truth is, you can ignore reality. You can act like reality doesn't exist and everything is my truth and everything is subjective, right? You can do that.
I hate that phrase. I hate it.
You cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring reality.
Yeah.
So you were talking about the kind of you go girlism and I'm going to just do this and I can have it all.
Yep.
And I can be, I can be single and partying until I'm 45 or whatever. And then I can go and, settle down with a great guy and have a family and what you can believe that if you want, but at some point reality is always going to come around to you and slap you.
Yeah.
So I think it's better for people to just know what reality is up front, even if it's uncomfortable. There's plenty of things in the world that I wish it wasn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, hey, that's just reality, right? If a guy is 5'4", he probably wishes that women were equally attracted to men who are 5'4" as men who are 6'4".
Mm-hmm.
But he's got to just go, you know what? This is just reality. Let me work on myself. Let me build myself. I can still be an attractive man, right? I can still do what I got to do, but I just have to accept this reality and play the game, right? Yeah. And I mean, imagine how diluted it would be for him to go around and be wanting to change the mating preferences of the female sex, right? Instead, he's like, no, society is the problem. It's those unrealistic standards that whatever. But there's people who do this, right? This whole fat acceptance, body positivity movement. It's like, men have been brainwashed. We've been brainwashed to not be attracted to morbidly obese women. And actually they're equally beautiful and this and that. And you should be just as attracted to a 50-year-old as you are to a 20-year-old and so on. And it's just like, guys, this is just delusion. Yeah. It's delusion. It's not reality. So yeah, you're welcome to believe that. You can entertain that. You can believe that you can identify as a goat, a cow, a chicken, whatever gender you want, but there is still reality.
Man, that was fire. And I want to go. Did you have something before I added to that?
Just add to the point. So you brought up earlier, ease of life, ease of access, right? So I look at it as we're in bubbles. Yeah. So for example, let's say you go, girl, focus on your career, you can get whatever you want and still get a man. Mm-hmm. That's a bubble. It's not reality. So for the most part, we're put into like bubbles of like what we think reality is. Mm-hmm. But reality is still the same no matter what we think. So once again, if it's ease of access, ease of life, you don't think about what's important, and you worry about the next show on the Kardashians or like the next movie that's coming out, and like that's cool and all, but that's not reality. And as a result, the major issues that are actually happening regarding hunger, money, the future of the world, no one looks at. And as a result, you're like asleep for the most part. So that's a good point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you another thing that we're doing in society in the West is that everything is based on exceptions. Right? People are obsessed with exceptions rather than general rules and general trends. So if I say anything, right? If I say, men are taller than women, someone's like, no, that's not true. My sister is, I've got a sister, and actually my sister is 6'3" and she's taller than most guys. I'm like, that doesn't change the reality, right? If I say people have 10 fingers and 10 toes, and you point out I know a guy that has 8. But this is what people do, right? Yeah. Be, I know a woman who had her first child at 48.
Yep.
And I'm like, I know that exists, but most people can't do that. So if you are going to try to base the standard, or you're going to give advice based off of the rare exceptions, that's going to be terrible advice. That's going to be awful advice for the vast majority of people, because most people cannot do that. And I think we've gotten so obsessed with the exceptions. Yeah. Right. You're trying to cater to like 0.1% of the population, oftentimes to the detriment of everybody else. Right. You see this with all this thing, like it's a silly, frivolous issue, but it's frivolous, but it's actually got some depth to it. Right. This whole gender nonsense, pronoun nonsense. Mm-hmm. Okay. All of human history, there have been two genders, male, female, man, woman, boys, girls. Very easy to determine. A baby can determine them. Even animals can determine them. This goes outside the human species, by the way. Mm-hmm. No one's ever needed to invent their own pronouns or announce them or whatever. And it's been perfectly fine. Oh, that person looks like a woman. That's a him. I'm going to refer to him as he. Oh, this person is a woman, right? And you've now got this tiny, tiny, tiny fragment of the population who wants to completely rewrite the entire English language and change everyone's way of speaking and everyone's way of behavior just to accommodate them. Now, in most countries, and in the past year, people would just be like, shut up. Nope. Right? It's like, but now it's like, oh, okay, we have to be so accommodated. No, this isn't even tolerance, right? This isn't tolerance. This is, because again, these people are using force. Right? This is why they're authoritarian leftists, because they're not just saying like, okay, this is the way we want to
Teacher
talk.
in Ireland got arrested for it.
Yeah, they're not just saying, look, this is the way we talk to each other, or this is how we identify when we're in our little club or whatever. You go ahead. It's like, no, you have to do that. You have to do it. You have to do it, right? In corporations now, they're trying to make people put their pronouns in their bios and their email signatures and this and that. They're, in places like Canada, this is the thing that Jordan Peterson initially spoke out against.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
They've made it potentially illegal to so-called misgender somebody.
Yeah.
So if I say that, as the British women's deadlift record holder, I say that my pronouns are she, her, I want everybody to refer to me as she and her, and you multiple times don't, I can call the police. Come and get you arrested and charged for hate speech. And it's like, yo, that is wild. And this is something else that's funny in the West, which is that people like to think that we don't have blasphemy laws. Blasphemy laws are everywhere, man.
Mm-hmm.
They just call them different things, right? There's stuff that I can say in Saudi Arabia or Dubai, Qatar, whatever. No one bats an eyelid. I have no concern. You say the same thing in the West and people are coming for your head, right? Maybe you won't get thrown in prison, right? Well, actually, in the UK, man, people have been arrested for quoting the Bible and stuff. So,
oh shit,
yeah. I mean,
UK police just like,
get over here.
Did you see? Actually, you know what? There was one just a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you guys saw this. There was a guy in the UK who got arrested by the police for posting,
tweets, right?
For a meme he posted on Twitter. So you know the new weird pride flag, the really ugly one with like the light blue and the pink and the black and the brown, and it's got the right. They've got this new pride flag, but if you put four of them together, you can make it look like a swastika. Right? And so he posted this. He just posted a meme of the four pride flags shaped to look like a swastika. He posted this on Twitter. The police came to his house and he got arrested.
Oh shit.
He got arrested. And do you know what the guy said?
What?
He said that his meme made some people feel uncomfortable and unsafe.
Oh my God.
That was the rationale to arrest him. So he was arrested for posting a meme on Twitter. And this is in the UK. This is just a couple weeks ago. And that's wild.
Wow.
That's nuts. You've had street preachers in London be arrested for literally reading from the Bible. Like
we got to watch out in London, bro.
Dude, like,
and it's coming to the US soon. Watch.
Dude, this is the only country with freedom of speech.
For now.
Yeah.
Like actually protected truly as a right?
Yeah.
In the UK, all across Europe, there are so-called hate speech laws.
Yeah.
Right? Now, someone can say most of them apply to things, in a decent society and a polite society, you shouldn't say. But what happens and what people don't get with these things is it increases, right? It's the totalitarian tiptoe. So it'll start with the things that most people agree with. Okay, that's offensive. Yeah, that's egregious.
Terrorists shouldn't have a platform. Yeah, starts there.
But then it grows and it grows and it grows to the point where it's like, oh wow, you post a meme, you post a joke. I actually know the guy who was the first person in British history to be arrested for a joke.
Wow.
Right? A guy named Count Dankula. This was several years ago.
What was the joke he made?
He's a YouTuber. So, man, this is kind of a weird story.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Black guy. Okay. Oh, jail!
Jail! This story is worth telling. So, I'm sure you can find this story online if you Google it.
Like the video, by the way, guys. 4,000 plus y'all in here.
I want to say this. I want to say this was like 2016 or 2017.
Oh shit!
But he was actually out. He was in Iceland, I believe. He was out the country just like with his friends on a weekend, and his girlfriend had recently gotten a dog, like a small, cute pug.
Yeah,
they're ugly.
And I think his girlfriend had gone away, and to annoy, like she was in love with this dog, and to annoy her, to play a joke on her, he taught the dog to raise its paw when he gave it certain commands, like a Sieg Heil, right? So he got the dog. So he trained the dog. So he posted a video of him. It's like, just like a video of him in the apartment.
Yeah.
And he's like giving, I'm not going to say what the command is here because it is offensive, right? But it's a joke. It's an in joke for him and his girlfriend. Yeah. So he says it, and the dog, raises its paw, and he called the video, your dog is a Nazi or something.
Yeah.
And he posted it to his YouTube channel with 13 subscribers. I think he meant for it to be private, but he posted it publicly.
Oh shit!
Because he wanted to send the link to his girlfriend.
Yeah.
He comes back to the UK a couple of days later, and police come to his house, and he is arrested. The video has blown up, got millions of views. People are calling him a Nazi, saying that he's anti-Semitic, this and this and this. So all starting from like this in joke. So whether or not, look, this isn't about whether or not someone likes the joke or thought it was appropriate or whatever. You're welcome to think that it's offensive. but he was arrested, he was charged, and he was prosecuted for this joke.
Did the charges stick?
Yeah, he ended up not facing any. He ended up not going to jail, but he was.
He pled guilty to something.
I think he was fined £800.
So he pled guilty, just like to something lesser, or
I don't know the details.
Okay.
I don't know the details of the court case.
Okay.
But he was prosecuted and found guilty of causing. I can't remember the exact term they used, like gross offense,
discomfort,
or gross offense, or something like
my
that.
feelings.
But the point is, to him, like, again, someone, you don't need to approve of the joke, but the idea that someone would be arrested for a joke. By the way, this has happened in Canada. Comedians have been arrested for telling certain jokes on stage. And that's wild.
Yeah, we got to be careful on podcasts.
Yeah, it's just wild, because the thing is, like, I'm super pro freedom of speech, and it's funny because, like, I'm a guy who doesn't even like cuss and stuff. So, but I'm like this free speech warrior, because I'm just like, yo, this is such a foundational tenet, not just legally, but also socially and culturally. If you think of the things that make the West special, and we were talking about that freedom and that liberty, it's like, yo, that has to be preserved and maintained
For everyone.
For everybody,
Not just for a certain protected class that uses pronouns or whatever.
For everybody, because if you don't maintain that, it's like, you know, the long-term consequences of censorship are not good.
Yeah.
Right. They're not good. And if you disagree, then tell me why people even have a problem with the way things are done in certain countries, right? It's because they don't think that those people have the freedom and the liberty to express themselves and dress how they want and say what they want and so on and so forth. But as we said before, it is always going to be a trade-off.
Damn.
Fantastic. I'm going to hit the points here too. I didn't want to interrupt Zuby, because I was actually going to go back to the whole trade-off thing as far as with children. We got here, no, we're going 20, right, Chris? Or did that come in before?
Yep.
Corey M. The military comment was definitely clipped by a hater. Okay. MSK God goes, hey, Zuby, would you recommend Thomas Sowell to the FNF gang? What are your thoughts on him, and how would this knowledge benefit the chat?
Yo, Thomas Sowell is a legend.
Okay.
He's one of the greatest Americans, one of the greatest thinkers to ever live, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
And it's a shame that he should be way more famous than he is.
Okay.
I think he's in his 90s now. So, and he's kind of a hermit, so it's probably hard to get him on an interview or something like that. But yeah, everyone should read some Thomas Sowell. Great thinker.
Myron, love your fed it. You ought to do a collab with Larry Lawton on YouTube. He's done countless successful robberies. At the time, did the largest diamond heist known. Has this size audience himself. Keep with the good work. Thank you. I'll make a note of that. And then Franklin St. Hex goes, hey Zuby, my Nigerian brother. I loved your interview with Richard Hart. Okay. And then Yvette Simonis goes, this is worth mentioning again. Get Candace Owens on a podcast. I met her and her husband in DC and was actually on her show in Tennessee. She's worth it. She's easy to book. Okay, you know what, man? We'll make it happen, because you guys have been asking for Candace Owens a very, very long time. You guys got to remember, though, we're very controversial. So we'll. Well, actually, she's doing a documentary right now on George Floyd.
I'm in it.
You're in it. Okay, yeah. Can you talk about that a little bit, or no? What's it about? Give the audience a general thing when it's coming out.
I think it's just getting I think it's 2 years. It's kind of like the 2-year aftermath of George Floyd. Looking back and reflecting on it, talking to people on different sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And after Derek Chauvin's now been prosecuted.
Yeah.
Getting people's thoughts on that moment in history. Candace and I actually disagree on this particular subject. So I think she wanted to have me in the documentary to get another voice that's more conservative leaning but doesn't share her interpretation.
Yeah, because
of it.
I mean, she's ready for the fire, because anyone that does anything, anyone that challenges that and, challenges George Floyd's, because he's kind of been, how do I say this? He's kind of been immortalized in a positive light, even though, I mean, it's a fact. He was a criminal, you know what I mean? With a long rap sheet. And I don't want to go too much into it, but she tends to look at it more from an objective standpoint, where she's looking at the dark side of him and I don't know if she looked at the positive. She looked at, from what I've seen, she looked at both sides. Yeah, because she's obviously bringing people in like you that oppose her views.
Yeah, for the documentary.
Yeah, for the documentary, she looked at both sides. But yeah, I mean, that's gonna be a controversial one for sure, because that's a very anytime you touch anything like that, it's extremely touchy. But yeah, guys, like the goddamn video. So real quick, you mentioned something before that I thought was very interesting, how trade-offs and how a lot of people tend to not understand that there are trade-offs, and a lot of these weird leftists think this way. And what I'm about to say does not necessarily reflect Zuby's points of view or Fresh's. This is just Myron Gaines here. So Chris, hit me with the sound effect real fast.
Got you.
Massage. And guys, like the fucking video. So, there's on this side of the internet, people say it all the time that like women are like children. And I would agree that women are like children in the aspect where they don't see long-term consequences. And the reason why a lot of times is because their beauty keeps them, and their inherent value keeps them from seeing the dark realities of what their poor decisions will lead them to. If you take a girl that's, 21, 22 at her peak, she's kind of in a privileged position where she doesn't have to understand how the world really works or how things are, because she sees the positive no matter what. Another controversial take here. One more time, Chris.
Misogyny.
Shout out to Donovan Sharp. I agree with him on this, even though this is a controversial take. Women typically tend to mature once they stop getting sexual attention and validation from men in abundance. That's when they start to realize, okay, I need to self-improve. I need to become a better woman. I'm paying for my own drinks at the fucking bar. Oh, shit. And I've noticed this from interviewing now almost, since you've been on, we've interviewed 1,500 plus women.
Wow.
And now, is this all women? No, of course not. But what I've noticed about a lot of modern day women is that a lot of them don't understand that there are consequences to their actions. They think I can have it all. I should be able to have the career and have the high value guy and have children and all this other stuff. And that's just how it goes. And I can be a raging bitch in the process. I'm fat and I'm still going to be accepted. And a lot of the time, I have to almost bring them to reality. And the fact that they don't want to accept reality is a big reason why this show's been so popular. It's one of the few platforms where men bring women in. We have honest, hard discussions about intersexual dynamics. And a lot of things we say are things that women have never heard to their face in their life from a guy, because men lie to women all the time to get laid. Comforting lies are more, women prefer comforting lies over uncomfortable truths. And, I think it all builds onto itself as far as like people thinking that I can have it all. This whole, we live in a fast food society, instant gratification. I should be able to do whatever I want, etc. Without any type of consequence. And I've always argued, feel free to chime in, that men don't have the privilege of living in a Disney fairy tale like women do, because as a man, if you're a loser and if you don't perform or whatever, you're going to face real life consequences for your inadequacy. For example, if you're a man and you're a fat loser, you're not going to get dates. Women aren't even going to look your way. You're not going to get certain opportunities with the opposite gender. But if you're a fat loser as a woman, no matter how much of a bitch or how fat you are, you're still going to get opportunities with the other gender as a woman, which is why I say typically, unless a woman has a strong father, came from a strong household, they're delusional as far as to how reality really operates and how they need to behave to attract and, more importantly, retain a man long term. Most of these girls can attract a man, but they can't retain a man, which is why we have some of the highest rates of single women than ever recorded. So, again, controversial take. That's my view, not necessarily Zuby's or Fresh's. But thank you, Chris. But yeah, a lot of women are like children, even the most educated, etc. Because we brought women here that are PhDs and master's degrees and everything.
Makes it worse.
And
that prolongs the delusion.
Man, fucking, I agree. I've said it before, because people get one of the biggest criticisms we get on this podcast. You guys only bring stupid Miami bimbos, blah, blah, blah. Shout out to Roman. He's been keeping track of where the girls are from. We've brought girls in from damn near almost every state in the United States.
Yeah, pretty much.
And girls, different education levels from bachelor's degree all the way to PhD doctorate. And what I've come to realize is, and I'll turn it to you after this, is that the more educated a woman is, the less she's likely to concede to a man of lesser value or even equal value to herself. If she's a PhD, not only is she going to want a guy that's at least on her level from an education standpoint, she's going to want a man that earns as much money, if not more than her. And then on top of that, the title matters, especially if she's educated. I'm a doctor. I don't give a fuck if you're a plumber and you make $300K per year and you own your plumbing business. I want a guy who's a doctor too. So if anything, it makes them more stuck in their ways. It makes them even more 10 toes down on their delusion. So I agree with you. I'll turn it to you.
Yeah, man, there's so many ways to to go on that. I mean, I
said a lot there. Sorry.
I do. No, it's good, bro. I agree with you that on average, men get reality checked earlier. Right? We get the reality checked in our preteens, teenage years, because as a man,
tonight's a problem.
As a man, you don't come into the world with the same value that a woman does, right? No one gives, as a man, people value you based off of besides your just general human value, which everyone has, people are going to value you and judge you based off of your accomplishments,
accolades,
based on your accolades, based on your achievements, your career, so on and so forth, right? This is why if you're asking a man, describe your ideal woman or your ideal mate or so on, no man is going to talk about how much she earns or her education. Like, you're not. Maybe a very feminine man will, right? But a masculine man is not even going to bring those up. A girl will say, I'd like a man, earn this much money. I want him to, be ambitious, have, maybe certain educational attainments and so on. And it makes sense, right? It makes sense. I'm not sitting here, women should do that, right? Because women should be more picky. So many things just stem back to biology, man.
Yeah,
biology
it's all rooted in
just
biology,
real, right? But if you take a 20-year-old man and you take a 20-year-old girl, like say they're equal physical attractiveness.
Yep.
Society, men and women sort of value the 20-year-old girl more. She's a more attractive mate and partner. Even if she's not, she doesn't need any accomplishments. She doesn't need a PhD, this or that. If she's just pretty and remotely feminine, she's going to be getting a lot of
Not only that, society will coddle her from her poor decisions far more than a man will. If she's a loser, they're not going to tell her she's a loser. If the man's a loser, they'll tell him he's a loser.
Well, this is interesting because even the term loser, when someone even says the word loser, I don't even think of a woman, right? Is it like it's even a weird term to apply to a woman. Because it's kind of hard for a woman to be a loser.
Almost impossible.
you know
and they still are, God damn it. Someone's trying to give y'all a pass and you still are fucking losers.
It's weird though, right? Like if you take an equivalent, if you take a guy who would be considered a loser, right? Say he's 30.
Yeah.
Right? He's 30 and he's not doing anything. He's out of shape, right? And he's right. And even women will be harsh on that. They'll be like, man, that guy's a loser. Like, don't date him. He's a loser, whatever, right?
Yeah.
You can have a woman who's literally the same age, has the same accomplishments or lack of, is in a similar physical condition or whatever. And she could still be in this complete delusion. And her friends will be telling her, like, you're a queen, you're beautiful. You don't even need to change. Here's another thing. Guys generally, not everyone does it, but guys take better to the notion of self-improvement. Yep. Generally speaking, right? Yeah, if you're a guy and someone is like, yo, bro, like, you need to get in shape. You need to make
men are more honest about it too. To each other.
Most guys are not. Most guys, if they're real, they're going to be like, you know what, man, you're right. Whether or not they do it is a different thing. But they'll at least acknowledge, you know what? Yeah, I'm not in good shape. Like I'm not particularly, I'm not doing my best out here. With women and society. And if you say this, right, this is why, whether it's yourself or, Kevin Samuels, RIP, anyone who does try to hold women accountable, whether or not people like the tone, anyone who does the tone doesn't actually matter. Just trying to be real, you're going to get called a misogynist. You're going to get called sexist. You're going to be attacked and so on and so forth, because you're just supposed to shut up and say, yes, you are beautiful. You could be 300 pounds and I'm still supposed to say you're great. You're beautiful. You don't need to change like a man who does. And this furthers the delusion, right? Because this is why there's no body positivity for men. There's no fat acceptance for men. It's only aimed at women. Have you noticed that?
100%.
Right? Have you ever seen a fat dude on Men's Health, Muscle and Fitness? Nope. No, but you'll put an obese woman on the cover of whether it's a women's magazine or a men's magagazine, and you'll say, this
they
is
put
healthy,
a fat bitch on for Sports Illustrated recently.
It's wild, right?
Yeah.
And we're not even supposed to remember. Do you remember when Jordan Peterson criticized it?
Yeah. They got tight. They got so mad.
Oh,
bro, give that critique.
Yeah.
Burn him to the stake.
Burn him at the stake, right?
Yeah,
but imagine if it had been a fat dude, everyone would be like, yeah, like
if he said the same thing about a fat guy, which he would, they would have championed that. They would have been okay. Yeah, you tell him, Jordan. Yeah. But he says that about a fat woman, and it's a problem. And I want to say this too, because I've said this a million times, but I want to give everybody a reminder. Privilege is invisible to those that have it. Whether it's an American that's fat and fat, that's poor, right? And a Kenyan wanted to come over here just so that he can be fat, right? One day, or it's a woman that's at her prime and she doesn't understand what it takes for a man to gain value. We've had so many girls come on this podcast, and I'll never forget this. Actually, remember that 18-year-old that you remembered that was on the boat that came on the show, or 19-year-old, whatever the fuck, the white girl. Yeah, she was tanned and burned. She had been on the boat with you before, like the day before, whatever. Yeah. Fresh don't remember. One of the few times Fresh don't remember.
Yeah. I need more detail.
Chris remembers. Yeah. She was sitting next to me. It was a week or two ago. Yeah. So it was a white girl. She went to FIU, dumb as fucking bricks. And she was sitting next to me.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Dumb as bricks, college educated, etc. Which is another thing too. College is a fallacy. So many girls that come on here are college educated and still fucking stupid.
I seen her again, by the way.
Yeah. What was that? Okay, fantastic.
I know you mean now.
But the point I'm trying to make is this. We were debating the difference between men having value, women having value, etc. And I was articulating that men get certain privileges because they earn those privileges versus women just are given them, right? They earn the right to be able to do certain things that women can't. And she was like, I don't agree, blah, blah, blah. And she went ahead and used this whole egalitarian argument, blah, blah, blah. And my thing was like, the life that you live isn't equal. You were on a boat the other day, right?
For free.
For free.
For free.
Yeah, but what you don't understand is the man that paid for that boat, etc. How many girls were there? Oh, like 20 or 30. How many men were there? Oh, like 5. Well, you do realize that those men had to get to a certain point in status to be able to afford the boat to allow your dumbass to get on with all the other girls that didn't pay shit to get on there, etc. So life isn't fair and life isn't equal. Those men had to bust their asses to have that same experience that you did for nothing more than you're fucking existing and being of age.
Are there any clubs anywhere in the world someone can name, any straight clubs where they have like men's night where men get in free before like you know 11 p.m.? No, anywhere in the world.
And that's what I'm trying to say. And they'll sit there and try to argue with me that we're equal, blah, blah, blah. No, you're fucking not. And reality reinforces that we're not equal. The thing is that they want to fight for equality, you know, only when it benefits them. They don't want to fight for equality when it comes to you got to be in selective service too, or we need equal representation of women in all the jobs that are, you know, industry and or manual labor. They want to go ahead and be represented at the top levels of CEO, etc., Fortune 500 companies. But or we need more women and women involved in corporate, blah, blah, blah. Where are you bitches with the sewage?
No,
where are you bitches with construction? Where are you guys with they want all the positives, not the negatives. Oh, well, men control all the wealth. Yeah, but men are also the most poor. Most homeless people are men. Most people that suffer from mental illness, etc., are men. It's a bell curve. And men are the best at a lot of things, but they're also the worst in a lot of things. And women don't want to accept this. They want to just take the positive without the negative.
I would argue, you said earlier, overcorrection, right? So women nowadays, they think that, you know what? Cool. Men are at the top. Forget that. No, I want to be at the top. And as a result, they don't care because
without paying the dues,
dude, they don't give a shit. They're like, you know what? I'm a boss bitch. I'm independent. I'm gonna be just like you. However, here's the problem. You can't be us, no matter how much you try. So go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, great.
I saw you had a lot of points that you want to hit.
I've got another term for you.
Okay.
There's a term for what you just described. It's called the apex fallacy.
Oh yeah, we use that all the time.
That's the one. That's the one.
Women suffer from that so bad, dude. Holy fuck.
Yeah, but there's something that's I've said this before. Again, I speak in tweets sometimes, man, because I had a viral tweet a while back, and I said
another one offending people.
Tweets a while, bro.
I said you can have equal treatment, or you can have special treatment. You can't have both. Right. So with society in general, right? If we're going to push this egalitarian society, equality, equity, and so on, across everything, across race, sexuality, sexes, whatever, either you can have equal treatment or you can have special treatment, right? And people want both. This is what you're railing against, right? You're talking about people wanting both. People want to be treated equally and the same when it suits them, but they also want special treatment, right? The truth is, I'll straight up say this. Women would hate it if they were treated the same as men. If you treat a woman the same way you treat your guy friend, they will hate it. They don't like it.
I'm a lady.
No.
Why aren't you being a gentleman? Open the door,
dude. Even on very basic levels, right? You're on a metro. You're on a train, right? It's still, even though people are trying to kill chivalry or whatever, or when it comes to holding doors, or standing up for a woman on the train, they still want that. And by the way, I'm cool with this. Like, I'm relatively traditional.
I agree with you on that too.
I'm cool with treating women specially because I think men and women are different. We have different capabilities. There are certain things that are just nice to do because, you're a woman. I'll do you this little courtesy that actually I wouldn't do. I wouldn't do for a guy. Not because I'm even trying to get anything from you, but just how I was raised.
Because you're physically inferior.
And so on and so on.
That's the truth, because you're physically inferior. Yeah, and if I say that, oh my God.
Do you know what? What's the truth, though? Certain feminists have problematized this as well. They call it benevolent sexism. Right. So holding a door for a woman or like letting her sit down in a chair on it. They call that benevolent sexism.
Wow.
So whether you are being kind and gentle to women and chivalrous, or you're just being like, either way, you're a misogynist.
Yeah.
Like however way they frame it.
You can't win, bro.
But this is the thing. It's like people don't actually want equal treatment. People don't really want. And do you know what I do? How I operate in this world is I believe in treating people fairly. I don't think fair is the same as equal.
Yeah.
Right. I think none of us treat everybody equal. That's insane. You don't treat your friends the same way you treat strangers.
Yeah.
You don't treat your family the same way you treat random. We all treat each other. We don't treat everybody equally.
Fair, yeah.
But I believe you can treat everybody fairly.
Yeah.
You can treat everybody fairly
based on where they are, as you know. Okay,
based
yeah,
on,
I like that.
based on so many factors.
Yeah.
So I'm big on let's treat people fairly, but this notion of treat everyone exactly the same no matter the circumstances, it's just stupid. It's not even tenable. Nobody does it in real life.
Yep.
So let's just be let's just be real.
Communism.
Back again to what you just mentioned, going back with trade-offs and people kind of wanting to have it all, and not accepting the fact that there are consequences for your actions, both positive and negative, right? If you bust your ass in life, more than likely you're gonna bear the fruits of your labor, and if you don't do anything in your life, you're gonna be a fucking bum. The other thing too, to add to this, as far as like people having this this equality standpoint, is they don't want equality. They want the thing is. They want equality of outcome.
They want the outcome, yeah.
They don't want equality of opportunity, because equality of opportunity is 100% there. And I would argue there's equality of opportunity where we've overcorrected. I think that's another facet that we've overcorrected as well. We now have gotten to a point where we will incentivize women and open up certain job positions solely for women that we would never open up for men, right? Especially in male-dominated fields. And women a lot of times get jobs that they aren't necessarily qualified for simply because they have a vagina, which is the definition of sexism, the very thing that feminists fight against. I'll never forget this. One time we had a woman on the show. This is the beauty of interviewing all different types of chicks. She went to plumber school. Okay. Dude, she could not. One of the tests that they have, competency tests, is she had to twist a wrench a certain way with a certain, I guess, grip strength or whatever.
Yeah.
She failed. She wasn't strong enough, right? They passed her anyway.
Of course.
And they allowed her to become a plumber because it was that bad that they needed women. I think it was like her and like two other girls in a class of like 100 or 200, whatever it may be. So that's an example where had a man scored that, he would have never been able to get it. In the UK, they allow female firefighters to fail the fitness test and still become firefighters.
Yeah.
And my thing is, that's all good and dandy equality when push comes to fucking shove and you actually got to save a life. You know how mad I fucking be, bro? I'm fucking burning. Oh, shit. It's too hot. I'm over here burning. It's too hot. God damn it. My makeup. Let's say we're in London. Nigga, we're in the hotel in London. Shit's burning down. We can't make it to the interview. Oh, fuck. I need help. My leg. And then fucking, some fucking butch lesbian comes in. I got you, mate. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. I'll be fucking tight, bro. I'm like, God damn it. You don't want her to bust in. And here's for all the feminists out there, that's sexist. Bitch, you wouldn't want her to bust in either. You'd be mad as hell. Yeah. She'd bust in like the Kool-Aid man, thinking everybody's excited. I'm here to save you. Like, oh, man.
If she's strong enough and she meets the fitness standards, bring her right in.
100%.
Don't lower the bar.
I agree. And my thing is this. Civil service, whether it's police, military, firefighter, etc., especially when there's lives on the line and you're responsible for fucking preserving life, fuck your feelings. We need one goddamn standard. Everybody got to pass it. And if it so happens that we got only male police officers and male firefighters, so fucking be it. I don't think we should dilute the quality of a certain workforce that is literally critical to the integrity of society because of feelings. But that's where we are. We're in the fields before reals. Let's go ahead and hire unqualified people.
They're doing it with the military.
Imagine a war.
That's the craziest
Imagine a war.
They are doing it with the military.
We fight China and Russia, bro. Who's going to fight them? Bro, I'm telling you, bro, we're screwed.
Did you see the Navy training video where they're teaching people in the Navy how to use pronouns?
Oh, bro.
I was like, is this
clown world?
Like,
We're focused on the wrong things, brother.
Yeah.
The wrong thing. I'm telling you.
It's fucking clown world, man. And my thing is like, we can't have an equality of outcome. It's fucking clown world because people that aren't qualified will get the same outcome as people that are qualified. And quite frankly, they shouldn't be there. Could you imagine? You want to be a doctor? Cool. You meet a certain prerequisite, even though you're fucking suck and you got shitty ass scores. We're going to give you that job because of affirmative action. We need to fill a quota, nigga. Get on the job. Okay. Starts writing prescriptions. Next thing you know, everyone's getting sick. Everyone's getting fucked up, blah, blah, blah. He's writing Xannies for anyone. Hey, you want a Xanny, nigga? Yeah, I got you, blah, blah, blah.
Pilots.
You get one, you get one,
blah, blah. Yeah.
Surgeons.
Andrew Tate got a huge backlash because he said, I would prefer to have a male pilot if shit were to go down. Oh my God, that's so sexist. Well, actually, it's rooted in biology. Most pilots are fucking men. Men do better with stress. They do better with confrontation. They do better in life or death situations. They're strong enough to manipulate the plane in times of peril or whatever it may be.
But exceptions.
Dexterity.
Myron, but exceptions. But there's this woman there who's like a really great pilot. and so this is the thing. That's what I was talking with the exception thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's like
that's the argument. It's always the exception.
It's always the exception. It's always saying, oh, well, what about this 1% scenario? And I'm like, look, I'm not saying that exceptions do not exist. There are exceptions to pretty much everything. There's very few statements you can make where there's not an exception to it, especially if you're talking about human beings.
Yeah.
Still, we can be like, look, generally speaking, averages, this is what it is. And do you know what's weird about it is like, there's so many of these things that are not remotely flattering, right? So like 90% plus of like violent criminals are men.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's not something that's like flattering as a man, but it's like, yo, that's just reality. Men are more aggressive than women are.
Yep.
Men are more competitive. Men are more, we've got this thing called
Zuby,
testosterone.
my brother would never hit anybody. What's wrong with you? How dare you?
That's not true. That's not true because there was a female serial killer, and
I'm shocked.
It's really weird. Some people's. Do you know what I've worked out? I don't want to even sound disparaging to people because I love human beings.
No, go ahead, bro. You want FreshandFit? You can be as disparaging as you want.
They annoy me, but I think I've actually realized that maybe I've always known this, and it's kind of obvious, but you're not supposed to say this, but not everyone is actually capable of certain ways of thinking.
Yeah. Well said.
There are certain like mental concepts and ways of explaining things that actually I don't think everyone can process. So sometimes this is why you see it, especially online, where you're trying to explain, you're trying to use an analogy.
Yeah,
and some
I've
people
done it a million times.
Some people don't understand an analogy, right? They take it literally, right?
Every night on the
Do you see what I mean?
with the girls.
So I'm like, no, I'm not.
I'm not a car, Myron. I'm not a car.
I'm not a car,
I'm
Myron.
not mileage. Stop it.
Are we saying with dogs, Myron?
Every night on the show, bro. Tonight, watch what happens. Wait. You said that, but my cousins, he would never do that.
Yeah.
Dude, the girls always do that, bro. Always.
Yeah. People don't get it. So I think
feminized men do that too.
Yeah.
True,
So I think this is also why you get that exception thing where some people don't realize if I say that, generally, if I say that men are stronger than women, or if I say the average, let's get away from the gender thing. If I say, the average truck driver earns, let's say it's $60,000 a year, and someone's like, no, that's not right. Like, I know a truck driver and he makes $100,000 a year.
Stupid.
And I think that they don't get, there's like a type of brain, which millions of people have, which doesn't understand. They think that they're refuting my point, right? They genuinely think that their point refutes mine. And I'm like, that doesn't change what I said.
Yeah.
I'm saying this is the median, this is the average, whatever. Yeah, there can be exceptions.
You're too nice, Zuby. Yeah, some of these people are fucking stupid. Let's just say it. Yo, we've gotten to a point now where we don't tell people they're fucking stupid. The other day, I said, fuck it. You know what? It is what it is. You're fucking dumb. This girl came on the pod. You're misogynistic. Please define misogyny. This fucking bitch could not define misogyny. I was like, listen, it's the hatred and or contempt of women. That's what misogyny is, you fucking idiot. Because I had stated some facts or whatever. She didn't like it. And the thing I've come to realize is that it's okay to be stupid nowadays because no one tells stupid people that they're stupid because we live in a protected society where that's considered fucked up. My feelings. You can't tell people they're dumb anymore.
Do you know what's interesting?
Yes.
Why is it that you can only acknowledge the middle and upper half of the IQ spectrum? Right. So with most human traits are on a bell curve, right?
Yes.
So
for sure,
height, whatever it is, right? We acknowledge that there are people who are extremely tall and there are people who are extremely short. Most people are somewhere in the middle and so on. We acknowledge that there are people of middling intelligence and there are geniuses. We're really, really, really hesitant and uncautious of ever saying that half the population has a below average IQ. It's just a fact by definition. Half the population has a below average IQ. There's people who are in the bottom 1%, bottom 2% of the IQ spectrum, right? There are people who are stupid, not in a disparaging way, not in a I'm attacking. It's just like, just like there are geniuses, there are people who are like, boom, 160 IQ. There are people with like, boom, 65.
And I want to say this too. There's people that are in that 65 degree thing, 65 IQ area that have college degrees, but they're still fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And also the elites, the guys at the top know this. So what do? They give you movies. They give you drugs. They give you things, keep you occupied because you're too dumb to realize what's happening.
Yeah, you can also be smart and stupid, right? You can be high IQ but dumb.
Okay.
You can be high IQ and dumb, right? So to me, IQ is like, I consider IQ like processing power. Okay. Right? Just like you got a computer, you got a phone, right? You RAM. Like,
wait, are we computers, Zuby? What the fuck? Are we computers? I am not a Macintosh or a fucking sir.
Hold on.
Your bigotry will not be accepted on this podcast.
I know a computer with no RAM.
Yeah, man. Yeah. What are you trying to say? I'm not plugged to an outlet, you fucking asshole. What's an outlet, Myron? You know what? I'm walking off this podcast. I'm offended. I'm leaving.
Canceled.
I do not subscribe to Windows because Bill Gates is an elite.
Depopulation. Depopulate yourself,
He's
sir.
out. He's out.
He's out.
Is it still a he if he's a computer? Maybe it's a they them.
I've already castled myself. Sorry,
Yeah,
I didn't mean it.
but I was saying, yeah,
No,
when I think of
processing
IQ, I
power.
think of like processing power, processing speed, how quickly you can work out like logic and do certain things, right? But what I mean is someone can be high IQ, but they can be like dumb in other regards. They can just lack knowledge, right? Just not have common, they just don't know a lot about the world. They could be like very bad in social situations. They don't know how to relate to people.
Example
They
of a
don't know how to-
trade-off.
Yeah,
a lot
they
of high
don't-
IQ people have social issues.
And by the way, I studied computer science at Oxford. So I really saw this, right? Like there were so many, there were people on my course who were like super high, like very high IQ. You give them a programming task, mathematical, like, boom, like they're beasts with math.
Quick
but
thing,
like
real quick.
you want to sit them down and have a conversation at this
That's
table,
what I was going to say, yeah.
and like they don't even.
Computer science guys and engineer guys, those are the top guys that contact me to deal with girls.
Interesting.
Almost always.
Oh, that's
when I do
interesting.
consultations, always either an engineer or someone involved with computer science. Anything that's like extremely logically sound,
Mhm.
that is 1 + 1 is fucking 2,
Mm.
and it's like there's one answer. 9 out of 10 times, those are the guys that hit me up for consultations to deal with women.
That's
Because
so
it's very
interesting.
difficult for them to grasp that there's many ways to skin a cat.
Yeah.
Like the way they come from, it's like, yo, there's one answer to this shit. You know?
Mhm. I remember when I was in. I remember when I first went to Oxford, and I was meeting other people on my course, and I remember trying to explain to people why I worked out. They were so confused by the fact I went to the gym. They were really confused by it, and because I used to play rugby as well, right? So I was almost like the jock of my class, because I was like, I'm surrounded by like nerds, right? And I'm the one who's like, I'm going to the gym all the time, and I'm lifted, and I'm training, and I'm playing rugby.
I guess
and
that's
whatever.
an example of dumb but high
And-
IQ.
Yeah, well, just like they didn't get it. They were like confused by, they were like, like to them, this is not logically a good way to spend your time. You just lift the weights and you put them down, and and it's like, yeah, but it has like all these other, besides health, it has like these other benefits and this and that, and they didn't really get it. Another thing is you can be really smart in a certain aspect.
Academia.
Yeah, you could be really smart, or even just a subject, just a topic. You could be like some mathematics whiz, right? But you might be like really dumb when it comes to like social, cultural issues or politics. Like this conversation we're having, you haven't even thought about like, oh, okay, like what about gender dynamics? Like you've never even thought of it.
Yeah.
Right. Some of the
Good
stuff we're
point.
saying is blowing your mind because you haven't even thought of this. You haven't even thought. You see this a lot with politics, especially when you get these certain public figures or celebrities or whatever, and because they're successful in one dimension, they have this kind of halo effect, and like some of them, like they don't even know the basics of politics. Right, like they don't even know. We're seeing this recently. Like the Queen just died yesterday, right?
Mhm.
There's people there, and they're putting out their hot takes, and they think that Queen Elizabeth like led the charge of colonization and so on and so forth. And I was like, that's not even how it works. Like that's not. Like they don't even know, and they say it with such confidence because they're confident and knowledgeable in another area.
Things, yeah,
they think it applies to everything.
yeah.
And they don't have the humility to just go, oh, you know what, like. Let me speak on what I know and not put out my ignorant hot take on certain. Right? You see this, a shooting might happen, and they're like, "Oh, we need to make it illegal for 16-year-olds to buy machine guns from Walmart."
Yeah,
I'm like, bro, I'm British, and I know 16-year-olds cannot buy they don't sell machine guns from Walmart.
yeah.
Like that's not a thing. But they'll just say, and you look at the tweet, and it'll have like 20,000 likes or whatever, and I'm like,
Dude,
you're all stupid.
Hubris is the root of stupidity a lot of the times.
Yes.
And competence in one area does not translate to competence in other areas. Like there's some tenement things that you can kind of adapt, right? If you go to the gym and you exercise really hard, whatever, you're able to take that discipline and apply it in other things, but it's not going to work for everything. You know what I mean? Like, for example, like that same discipline and diligence, etc., for example, won't necessarily work with women. The more you invest in the gym, the more you're typically going to get out. The more you invest in a girl that doesn't like you, hey, you got to be able to cut your losses and move on quickly. And I think that's something we talked about the friend zone the other day with guys and girls. And one thing that I've noticed about guys that get friend zone or guys that fail women a lot of time is they had this mindset of the harder I work at it, the more I invest in it, like in other endeavors in my life, the more I'm going to get out. But a lot of times that's when you take L's. The more you invest in a girl that doesn't give a fuck about you, the lower you put yourself in a hole. But it's very difficult for guys to understand that because women are not the same as other endeavors in life. You got to be able to cut your losses very quickly versus investing more.
That's a fantastic point. Do you know what else I think it is? And you were talking about a lot of guys who do like in the computer science and engineering fields reaching out to you.
Yeah.
Another thing is when you study computer science or engineering, you learn a specific type of problem solving.
Yeah.
So I think that what they do is they try to apply that same thing to everything, right? So in a relationship, interacting with women, they're viewing it like a programming task, right? They're thinking, okay, like I do it like this step and this step, like an algorithm.
Yeah.
And that doesn't apply to that scenario. So I think that's why so many men who are, they're smart and they think that way, and then they're seeing some other guy who they might think is like stupid or like, he's not as smart as me or whatever. And he's like having all this success with women and he's very confident and whatever. And this is also where you get the confusion of the thing, like the sort of nice guy versus asshole dichotomy.
Yeah.
Because it's not about being an asshole per se. It's like a lot of guys who have that personality type, they also have the things and the qualities that women are attracted to. It's not necessarily that he's an asshole. It's or these terms are not kind of used properly. Yeah. Right? When people say nice guy, what they kind of mean is like clueless, supplicating, doesn't hold his frame, right? Yeah. Maybe lacks confidence and so on, right? Doesn't have boundaries. That's what they mean by nice guy. They don't just mean someone who's a kind.
I'll give an example of that
person. Go ahead.
Like a lot of the guys that like they hit me up for consultations whenever, they tend to think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I get the girl.
Yes.
But what they don't realize, it's 1, 2, 3, fuck, -2, and then +3. Yeah. I got to skip 5 right now, but then I can come back to 5 later, then go to 6 and 7, and then I can go ahead and close. And they don't understand that like it's not. It's not sequential. It's not 1 + 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. A lot of time it's 1, 2, 3, -2, +3, going back, etc. And the thing about guys that are assholes, etc., is they're able to see it real time, adapt accordingly to the real time situation, make a move, and realize, okay, I can't do step 5 right now because this bitch is on some bullshit. I got to go to 6, and then I got to come back to this later on. But guys that are very logically sound, guys that are geniuses, guys that are good with numbers, guys that are engineers, etc., it's difficult for them to process it because they're like, well, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, the algorithm tells me I should be getting sex right now. Yes. Okay, pants off. Let's do this. And she's like, what the fuck?
And also, they're in complete logic mode. They're not using any emotion.
Yeah. Game isn't binary. No. It's reactionary.
Yeah.
Like
it's very reactionary.
Yeah. You got to react to it.
Extremely.
In real time.
And women are more emotional than men are.
They're logical creatures.
They're emotional. So if you're just applying straight like logic and facts and rationale, it's like. And also, look, not every woman's going to be interested, right? Not every problem is solvable because most women are not going to be interested in you. Most women are not interested in most men, and shouldn't and shouldn't be.
But right? They think. But the other thing too is that like a lot of girls think, going back to Apex Fallacy that you mentioned before. I've said this before. You think a lot of guys are out here smashing? Yeah. 90% of them are out here fucking other girls, but goes back to that Apex Fallacy that you mentioned before.
Guys,
you know,
smashing.
And just to give you guys, Chris, hit me with the sound effect one more time.
Yep, got you.
Yo, yeah, you guys think I'm kidding around when I say women don't know what the fuck that they want. Yo, literally, earlier today, I was out with a girl, okay? I was like, yo, let's go do tacos. Are you cool with tacos?
Wait, tacos?
I don't really like tacos. So I was like, and she's like, let's do Italian. I was like, trust me, you're going to like this place. Took her to the place. She liked it anyway. And she's like, that was great. I was like, okay, great, fantastic. Because if we had picked where you wanted to go, you probably wouldn't have liked it or whatever. So I'm not saying, guys, that it's my way or the highway or whatever, but you got to understand a lot of times you being able to make a decision, even if she's like, I'm not so sure about this, blah, blah, and being confident in it will make you way more attractive and they're probably going to like it anyway. Yeah. Just off of you being able to like not bend to their women, whatever. And it's that important. And I don't think guys understand the importance of holding on to your frame. I mean, if it's because trust me, guys, if it's a resounding no, you'll fucking know. But a lot of times it's like it's an unsure no because they don't know better.
Yes. Do you know what people confused with the whole nice guy asshole dichotomy? You know what it is? It's assertiveness. It's assertiveness and confidence, right? And most people who are considered assholes, they're assertive and they're confident, right? They could be the kindest guy, like, but so many people who are. So when people think of nice guy, it's he's supplicating. He can't make decisions. It's where should we go to eat? I don't know, babe. Where do you want to eat? Let's go wherever you want to go. Right?
It's even the way you speak sometimes.
Yeah, of course. And how you carry yourself physically, emotionally, whether or not you have boundaries. Do you just let people like run roughshod over you if someone's being disrespectful? If a woman is or a man is totally disrespecting you, do you just take it? You go, no. Like we have to draw some lines. Like I'm not going to tolerate you treating me like that. I'm not going to tolerate you talking to me like that. And the problem as well is, man, a big problem in the world is dudes are thirsty. Men are really thirsty, man, and it's a big problem. Like it's wild. I mean, it's funny,
No, it's so true. It's like simple, but it's succinct, but it is so true,
it
man.
is, and it enables a lot of bad behavior. Because if men don't lay down the law, and I'm not saying this in a misogynist sense,
I am,
right? Then we have Myron for that. This is why we need different communication
real
styles.
quick. Yeah, I mean, just see how niggas know. My book right here coming out soon. Why women deserve less.
Is the forward by Future?
I am. Yeah, pretty much. I'm writing the book right now.
And cancel.
We got Zuby here, so he's balancing out this misogyny. Sorry, bro. My bad.
What exactly was I saying?
You were talking about boundaries, not being a nice guy, and guys are thirsty.
We need to talk about the male thirst problem because this is enabling a lot of nonsense in our society. But it really is. I mean, really is. Like it's wild. It's wild. I mean, the fact that I'm not. Who are the guys paying all this money for like like OnlyFans? How is that even a viable business model?
Bro,
right? It's all male thirst. So people are there like, oh, I can't believe that these women are making this much money. I'm like, who are the dudes who are spending millions and millions of dollars?
I'm not sure if you're aware.
Like
Black China was actually in the news because they said she made $20 million a month.
What?
From OnlyFans.
Like, I mean, you want to talk gender dynamics. Like, there is no way on earth a straight man, no straight man is getting women to subscribe to his OnlyFans. Like, I assume any male creator on OnlyFans, I assume they're all gay, right? Because like,
I'll tell you this from a professional that I know. It's I think Sterling. Shout out to our guy Sterling Cooper when he still did the prawns. When he was on OnlyFans, etc., most of his supporters were gay dudes.
Of course,
gay guys. It was not women. It was gay dudes, and he's talking about this openly. Like that's the consumers of any type of visual pornography
or even prostitution.
Yep.
Right. Like women are not paying. Women would not pay to.
They want to pay for their own drinks, let alone dick. That's an insult to them.
It's wild. So I
gotta buy my own drink.
Male thirst has actually shaped society and culture all throughout history, if you really think about it. Right?
Hold on, you might be on the sun right now. Continue on, sir.
I'm thinking out loud here. I've never expressed this thought before, but I'm just thinking as like society and culture changes. The sort of male thirst drive has written a lot of the rules, whether we recognize it or not. And I think in this modern era, we're seeing this in a particular way with the internet and social media and all of that. But I don't think it's a new phenomenon. I think it's always been there, but it was more restrained because, people would just get married earlier and, a man would have his woman, a woman would have her man. And it was kind of simple. Whereas now we've kind of just got this completely unregulated thirst, and it's created new markets in the literal sense. It's created markets for male thirst, whether you're talking about online porn, which is a gigantic, like shockingly big industry, or you're talking about things like OnlyFans, or you're just talking about social media, right? I mean, if you're a guy to get 100,000 followers or 1 million followers on any social media platform,
you need to provide insane value.
You got to be somebody,
bro.
Yes, as a girl, you could just be hot.
I've said it before.
You can literally just be hot.
If you got 10K followers as a guy, that's the equivalent to a bitch with like damn near 1 million. I've said it.
That's the foundation.
Like that, yeah. If you got 10K, that's damn near the equivalent to like a chick that has like 1 million followers on Instagram. Because for girls, it's easy mode to get followers. And you could tell, bro. Most of the girls that come on the show, or girls that if you look at their you know what exposes them? Look at their demographics. Like look at their follower thing. It's almost always fucking 90% plus men that follow them, right?
Yeah.
Because most guys are simps. You said something profound. Sir, I'm going to have to agree with you on that.
Thank you.
That male thirst has shaped society the way it is now. If you think about all the male inventions, birth control, okay? Fucking even the tampon created by men to make women's lives easier, right? And guys think like, oh, let's give girls birth control, etc., because we're going to be able to get free love and smash. Oh, congratulations.
You triggered my trap card.
There's this magic word called a fucking hypergamy, asshole. And that fucking guy that created the fucking, birth control pill, guess what? You are 6 foot tall, nigga. And you might have made some money. But guess what? I'm going to go for the fucking chat over here. What I've realized is that when you live in deregulated sexual marketplaces, right? Like the United States, Great Britain, Canada, etc., where the women are left to their own devices to pick their mate, what happens is a minority of the men get all the fucking sex.
Yes.
Right? From the girls and their peak.
Mm-hmm.
And then a majority of the guys don't get shit.
Yeah.
And we thought with making women equal, giving them all these rights, etc., right? All these privileges. Because let's keep it 1,000 here. Women didn't get the fucking rights. The men gave it to them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
We allowed it.
You know, men have the monopoly of force. That's how it is. You know, that's the reality. So men allowed it. And I'm not saying women shouldn't have rights, etc. But what I am saying is that when you give them the rights, when you give them the power, they default to hypergamy. When they default to hypergamy, these guys that had good intentions, free love for everybody. No, stupid.
Not for you.
Free love for a minority, stupid. And that's kind of what happened. That male thirst a lot of times has motivated guys to do things to make life easier for women under the false pretense, I'm going to be able to get laid. But the reality is you've just made it easier for Chad to pick that girl up. The internet, Instagram, the online dating apps, etc. It's all done with good intention. Let's put people together. Let's get these people in relationships, etc. No, sir. Because what happens is when you give women a bunch of choice, it's a paradox of choice.
Yep.
They've done the studies on this. You go to an ice cream shop, 40 different flavors, versus you go to ice cream shop, only 4 flavors, you're far more likely to purchase and get a flavor if there's less choices. But when you have a bunch of choices, you don't know what the fuck to do. Here's me with the sound effect. Got you.
Misogyny.
Yo, the reason why they used arranged marriages a lot of the times was to protect women from themselves. Okay? Hypergamy, uncontrolled, can wreak havoc. You look at the birth rates right now. Look at what we got going on with the clown world, etc. Okay? Now, am I saying that women need to be repressed, blah, blah, blah? No. But religion, a lot of the times, Islamic countries, Christian faith, Judaism, whatever, all religions universally almost always repress some of the worst sides of female nature. Okay? Wanting to get the best guy, having multiple partners, open sexuality, all these things. Like, there's things put in place naturally and from a societal standpoint to stave this off. STDs, it's like, women typically tend to be more likely to get diagnosed with STDs. The smell, the vaginas, itchy vagina.
Who's the father?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Not being able to identify paternity. So all these things were put in place biologically from a natural standpoint and from a society to repress female sexuality and the negative aspects of hypergamy. But when you left it to its own, what do we have? We have single mothers. We have women that are on antidepressants. We have a bunch of women that are unhappy because they're unable to find a guy. There's so many different things, but male thirst allowed this to happen.
And another thing that's happened is males have had to react. You used the term reactionary before, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the truth is ultimately, the truth is when it comes to mating, women have the power, right? When it comes to setting the rules and the standards and the boundaries of dating and sex and marriage and all, women actually set the standard, right? And then men just react to it. Right. Men always are going to adapt and react. And what happens is you can end up in this situation where it feels like we're almost in this kind of race to the bottom because women are there like, oh, well, why are the men being like that? And it's like, well, because that's the behavior that's getting rewarded.
Bam.
Right. If women wanted men to behave, it's like, OK, well, reward that behavior. And men are going to over time be like, OK, well, this is what works. Right. If you talk to someone in a more traditional country, or you just talk to an older man, whether in the UK, US, or whatever, you ask your granddad, how did you meet your wife, or so on. It's so much more like straightforward and simple. It's kind of like be clean cut, be a nice man, be courteous, just be a good man, be a provider, have a job. Don't be like an alcoholic or something crazy. Don't be abusive. Just be a decent man.
Average men were able to get women easier before.
Yes, just be a decent man and you'll get a good woman.
Yep.
Right? Be a decent woman, you'll get a good man. That's still true to some degree, right? And there's still pockets of traditionalism and sanity, but elsewhere we've just got this, as you said, deregulated, unregulated. I call it an experiment. All right, people don't really. Bro, because with so many things, people forget how new it all is, right? Human beings have been around for a really, really, really long time.
Right.
When was birth control even invented?
The 60s.
Like the 60s, right? Like
it's new.
Reliable birth control. Yeah. When was social media and smartphones? In 2006, the first iPhone came out, right? It's only since about 2010 where so many people have had this combo of a smartphone and social media.
IG took off 2012, 2013.
Exactly. So we're
barely a decade.
Dude, 15 years ago, if you said you met your girlfriend online or you met your wife online, people look at you like,
you're weird.
Freaking weirdo.
What's wrong with you, bro?
Complete weirdo. Like online dating, are you insane? Yeah. Now it's like a normal thing. So I think people don't realize we're living through multiple experiments.
Unprecedented eras.
Yeah. So it's exciting. Like it's frustrating in many ways. It creates opportunities. It's exciting, but it's like, yo, we don't really know what the effect of this is. I say this with social media all the time, even going outside of, men and women in relationships, just psychologically in society. We're not, I mean, you guys have, between us, we have several million followers.
Yeah.
We're in the past, who had 1 million followers? Unless you were a king, unless you were the king or the queen,
not even Genghis Khan,
or you were a celebrity. You're a famous actor. Like, to have even access to hundreds of thousands or millions of people and be able to communicate to them, this is brand new. We're not supposed to. When I'm on Twitter and you can see everyone's opinions, you can see all this. Like, it's crazy. Anyone can reach me. I can reach anyone. Anyone can reach me. That's cool. But that's not normal, bro. Like, this is completely abnormal. Never in human history have we had this power, had this access to so many people and their ideas and this and that. And it's got its positives and it's got its negatives. And the truth is, long term, we don't actually know. We don't know where this leads. We don't know what the consequences are. Some of them are looking negative, right? Especially when it comes to teenagers and children and with social media, right? It's but the truth is we just don't know. And I think even the people who created many of these platforms, they didn't expect it, man. Like,
Zuby, our generation was the last one to like go outside and play.
Yes.
Like, because you said you're 37, I'm 32.
I'm 36.
36. So we were in that, we're the last era to like understand like what it was like to like go outside, play, not have a smartphone attached to you all the time.
Do you know what else we are? We are also the last generation who remembers the world pre-internet.
There you go.
From now on,
that's extremely important,
right? This is a big thing. From now on, anyone who is, let's say, 24 and under, you've never existed without this stuff being prominent.
That's
so
true.
Even that 10-year gap, like, it might seem like between a 36-year-old and a 24, it might not seem like a massive thing, but when they were in school, like when I was in school, we didn't have Instagram and Snapchat and Facebook.
Fucking no.
Like, we just had the basic cell phones.
Fucking like a flip phone if you were lucky.
Yes, at best.
And then if you did have internet, you had to go back. AOL, you were online. It's fucking that dumbass out.
Get off the phone. I'm trying to get on the internet.
Like some crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? You out here trying to whack into porn. It's like, oh God, it's 10 pixels. I can't see. I think I see a purple right now. Yeah.
Bro, children now are on the internet before they're born. People put up their baby scans. Women put up their baby scan on photo on Instagram, 12-week scan, 20-week scan. I'm having a the child is on social media before he has taken his first breath. Like, think about this. These kids are going to look back and they can go back and see, like, from when they were in their mother's womb, when they were born, 1, 2, 3, right? Like, it's all there and it's on the internet. They can read the comments. It's all there.
My mom was a whore. Shit.
That's an ugly ass baby.
Nigga. But it's all there forever, man. And that's kind of wild. I don't think people realize like what a shift in humanity this is. Like never before in any other time. And we've had technology. There's been big technologies before, but not ones in the communication sense that allowed to do this. Even the invention of the book, even the invention of the radio, the TV, whatever. That's like, that's a broadcast.
Yeah.
That's a broadcast. But the ability for us all, no matter where you live, right? I can be in the UK. You guys are in Miami. We're there. Most of the podcasts I do, I'm not even, you guys do your podcast in person. I do mine remotely.
Yeah.
Right? I'm there. I'm talking to someone who's in Australia in real time. I'm like, bro, our ancestors would think this is witchcraft.
Yeah.
I would argue though that like we do know where it's going though, because
what do you think?
Think about it. We have smartphones, we have TVs, we have cars. They all can be monitored and somewhat controlled. So what does that mean? At any point, the creators of these items can say, you know what? Cool. Now, with the agenda, if you don't do what the government or the elite say, I'm going to control your device, which means I know where you are.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Think about it, right?
My finger slipped.
If you don't know what they say, they could turn your car off when you're driving, make it crash. They could pinpoint your location. You could be in the woods. You got your cell phone. Oh, there he is. Go get him. It's like control. And the control leads to what? Surrender. And you're a sheep, basically, because whatever they say to do, if you don't do it, you're done.
Yeah.
So
that's the crazy thing with technology.
That was Chris that time.
It's good and bad.
That was
Chris good and bad, my friend. Good and bad.
Yeah.
Look at Canada. The truckers.
Yo.
Didn't
No, nigga. I'm not disagreeing with you. For real.
You making fun of me?
No.
What was that?
No. I'm dead serious. Like that, bro. Why do you think I'm like in crypto, man? Like, 100%. Like, if they control your money, they control you.
Yeah.
Hey, We don't like y'all niggas protesting.
Zero.
No food.
And now they want to do the central bank digital currencies.
Oh,
And
shit.
no cash. With
Programmable
no
money.
cash. Yo, could you imagine if there's no cash? You're at the
That's
mercy of the bank and the people that control the bank.
Yeah.
No, your money's in digits. You know what? Myron, I like what you said the other day.
Yeah.
Canceled.
That
Zero.
book that you got, bro. Women deserve less. Well, you know what, Myron?
Listen.
You deserve less. We're taking all your money.
All those loans that you have, zero. I'm telling you, bro.
And by the way, this already exists to some degree in China.
Yeah.
So this, right?
Social credit score.
Exactly. So this isn't just like some far-fetched idea. This is real already.
And I would argue your credit score is nothing more than a number that dictates how well you pay back the loans. Like you're literally down to like a number. So to me personally, bro, like this is control all the way through. And if you don't see it now, you're never gonna see it in the future. And as a result, people are asleep because once again, they're focused on the wrong things.
Yeah.
What show's coming out? Should I do my nails today? It's like, bro, there's shit happening in front of your eyes. You can't even see. But before you know it, it's gonna be too late. And you can't do anything about it anyway.
Yeah. The thing is, technology can both free us and it can enslave us. And oftentimes it
Like you
doesn't.
said.
And oftentimes it does them simultaneously. It does them simultaneously. I mean, the truth is, probably all of us to some degree are addicted to our phones and social media.
I am.
Right.
I'm 100%.
I'd estimate that 90% plus of adults who own a smartphone are addicted to it to some degree. Some people are really, really bad, but everyone's addicted, right? And it can end up, if you're not careful and cautious with how you use it, and you're not conscious of it, it can end up enslaving you. And I think that almost any technology has the power to liberate and or enslave, and it can often do them both. So with all this stuff we're talking about, with technological advancements, it's cool. We've got things like Bitcoin. You've got whole cryptocurrency, and that is a liberating path
For now.
right? It's a potentially liberating path, but you've also got the ability for people to just shut you down like that. Deplatform you. Cut off your bank account. We're just gonna. We don't like that you went to that protest. We're just gonna freeze. We're just gonna either freeze you at the money level or freeze you at the bank level, and so on.
Merchants.
And so. Yeah, I don't know. And we've got robotics coming down the line. We've got artificial intelligence coming down the line.
You know what? I have a question, Zuby.
Go ahead.
Knowing all this info, right? What can the average guy do to be free? Because I know this info. I can't do shit. I'm like, okay, it's good to know, but like, this really help me. How do you navigate? Because you can't really fight the system.
Yeah, my view is I'm a fan of having options. I'm a fan of having options. I think that, and some people aren't going to like this because some people are going to think it's unrealistic, but I think ideally people want to have multiple passports, multiple visas,
It's true.
multiple residencies.
Oh, you're going to get canceled for saying this.
Right? And I know especially Americans don't like to hear this because they want to just live and die in America.
Yeah.
But I think it is wise to have access to other places. I mean geographically, so that if stuff gets weird, let me go hang out in Czech Republic. Let me go hang in Bermuda. Like let me just bounce to another place if I need to. And I'll be real. I mean, during the whole, the past 2.5 years, most people were sitting home. I went to 8 different countries.
Nice.
I was traveling through it, and I managed to avoid a couple of the lockdowns because I was like, stuff's getting gnarly here. Let me go somewhere else where stuff is a little bit more calm.
Yeah.
People did this even within the USA, right? Florida's population has grown.
Exploded.
Texas's population has grown. New York has shrunk. California, for the first time, California is losing people. Right, that's never happened.
That's what we're talking about. Fuck
history.
California.
So people are already doing this to some degree. So I think that's intelligent. I think it's smart to not have just one source of income.
Right.
You want to have multiple sources of income. You want to be in good physical shape, right? Just in case like stuff actually hits the fan, and you don't want to be a blubbery mess. You want to physically be able to. You want to physically be able to handle yourself. I do recommend that people should own some Bitcoin, even if you're not like a hardcore Bitcoin or a hardcore into crypto. I think you should have some.
Yeah.
Right. You should have some.
You should be diversified.
You should be diversified. I think to answer, your question, I just think you should increase your options. I think this idea that you can just stay in one place your whole life and stuff is never going to get weird and stuff is never going to hit the fan and you don't have to worry about, your parents didn't have to worry about it. Your grandparents didn't, so on. You might have to, and it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, right? If stuff is getting, again, if you didn't wake up to this over the past 2.5 years, then I don't know when you will, right?
Because
You're right.
Right?
You're
Like,
right.
stuff got
Yeah.
very, very gnarly, and it still is pretty gnarly in some parts of the world. And you don't know what's coming down the pipeline. I mean, if we go back to if in 2019, imagine in 2019, I told you exactly how 2020 and 2021 was going to play out. You would have been like, this guy's a conspiracy.
Yeah, you would have been like,
what are you talking about?
crazy.
Right? You'd be like, that doesn't even make sense, right?
Yeah.
You'd be like, this is silly. That's not, maybe they can do that in China, but that's not going to happen in Europe.
not in America.
Not in America.
America.
And not just that the government doing it, how quickly people went with it.
Yeah.
People were for it.
Yeah.
Right. The majority of people did not put up even a minor
They
resistance.
said, give
was
it
like,
to us.
Give it to
We're
us.
begging
And-
you. Save us.
Yes, please, right? Shut down my business. Shut down his business. That guy's outside. Arrest him. You remember they were arresting people for surfing and
Put your mask on the plane, sir.
dude.
Yo, you see, hold on.
Put over your nose.
Zuby,
Yo.
you see what we just said there? People willingly
Yes.
reported other people
Yes.
and then follow the rules.
Including family members.
Which means if you're against the system, the bots, the NPCs are going to report you.
Yes.
So you're screwed either way.
Yeah. So this is why I say I think you should just be
Mobile.
mobile
Diversified.
and certainly willing to be mobile,
Okay.
right? It doesn't mean you need to get up and move somewhere right now.
Mhm.
Just be, because so many people, and look, maybe this is easy for me to say because I've been traveling my entire life. So I don't have a hometown. I don't have this thing of like, oh, this is the place where I grew up and I lived there and, everyone I know is there. I don't have that. That doesn't exist for me. So it's easier for me as an individual to kind of travel around and do this, live this life of luxury homelessness. But I understand for most people that's more difficult, right? Even for someone to just move to a different state or different city, I understand that's difficult for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I think that if you're not concerned about any of this stuff, then ignore all this, right? This advice is only for people who are concerned about this stuff, right? If you're totally happy and you're not worried about any type of new world order and you are cool with the past 2.5 years, then completely ignore all of this. But I think if you are concerned, then you just want to maximize your options, get your money right. Don't have just one. Don't be in a position where if one thing, I'll be real, man. If the shutdowns that happened in 2020 and 2021, if that had happened just a few years earlier, I would have been screwed. Right? Because I was making all my money just from music, and primarily I was doing pop-up shops in shopping malls. Right? So every month in the UK, I'd be in a different shopping mall promoting and selling my merchandise and my CDs and my music and stuff. And that's how I was making like 95% of my income. Right? When they shut down all the malls, they shut down I would have been screwed. Fortunately, in 2019, I started my podcast. I wrote and released my first book. I started doing this and that. So when it meant that I could do no live gigs for 2 years, I could do no live speaking engagements for over a year. I couldn't do my pop-up shops. I couldn't be out in person promoting and selling my stuff. I was still fine because I had other sources of income. I also had investments and so on.
Yep.
So I was okay. But I was like, if this had just happened a couple years earlier, I would have been screwed. And a lot of entertainers were screwed. I'm not talking like the multimillionaires, but if you think of all like the musicians and comedians, live performers,
people don't understand. A lot of rappers and stuff like that in general. When you come from this in the music industry, most of their money comes from shows, guys.
From shows. It comes from shows, exactly.
Not from album sales, from shows.
Yep, it comes from shows, and that just got shut down. Which is also why, personally, I was disappointed that more people in the music world, not just in hip hop. Yeah, I was hoping more people would take a stand. I get why people didn't, because I get why most people didn't. But
the music industry is run by the weirdos, if you know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying. It's why I don't consider myself part of the music industry. I'm just straight up independent. Art,
music, whatever has been overtaken by those weirdos.
Yeah. And most people are just scared. That's the reality, man. And I get it. I'm often trying to encourage people to be more courageous in their words and in their deeds. But it's difficult. Most people are not willing to just talk. That's one thing I respect, man, massively about. Let me give you guys some props. Like, one thing I really respect about what you're doing is you're just doing it, right? You're putting your thoughts and words out there. You're sharing your thoughts. You're having conversations, whether or not people like it or agree or disagree, whatever. It's like, they're doing it. You're in the arena. You're building something. You're adding to the dialogue. You're adding to the conversation. And I think this is what we need more of. We've discussed that we're living in this very peaceful, sort of easy time to be alive.
Facts.
And if you're gonna solve any problems or you want to understand people or so on, you have to have these conversations.
Yeah.
All we're doing here is thinking out loud.
Yep.
Right. Like every time, that's why I love podcasting, because you're just thinking out loud and sharing ideas, and each person sharpens the other person. Right.
Yeah.
Like we to come in here, like I don't know the next thing I'm going to say or what you're going to say or what you're going to say.
Mm-hmm.
And we just bounce ideas around, and then you get smarter over time. The people listening, you get something from it. It's entertaining, sure. But actually, it's educational. You're learning. You take some tidbits. You're like, you get some inspiration.
I just learned some stuff right now from this conversation, which is great.
Like, oh, you know what? And you do that. You talk to hundreds of people, thousands of people, and over time, you're like, man, okay, I understand the world better. I understand people I agree with better. I understand people I disagree with better. I can at least see where people are coming from.
I understand most people are fucking stupid. That's what I've come from doing all these interviews. I've realized that education, etc., has nothing to do with your ability to interpret and process information, like we discussed before.
Do you know what it is, man? I think most people don't really think.
Yeah.
Most people don't think a lot. Most people's ideas and beliefs are kind of just given to them, or they just absorb them from the society that they're in.
Yeah.
They don't really think about it. Most people have never thought about what freedom of speech is and what's it important. Like, what even is it? I don't think most people could accurately describe what freedom of speech even means.
Yeah.
Right. Let alone, why is it important? Why does it matter? Right. Why is censorship? People don't actually think about these things. They hear the terms and they like the way they sound. Oh, I like the way that sounds. Freedom sounds good, but they don't really think, okay, well, you say that thing. Why do you believe that?
There's a lost art that's passed down from our generations.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it is? Critical thinking.
Thinking.
It's not there anymore.
No.
Critical thinking is almost non-existent in today's day and age. And I would argue a big part of it is because we've civilized the world so much that people don't need to think anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and, order food from your phone and some stranger brings it to you while simultaneously ordering a ride to go somewhere and not walking. And, no one holds you accountable for being a fat piece of shit. And, you're accepted regardless of how you behave because of we need to protect people. And, it goes back to the tyranny of the weak, right? Right.
Mm-hmm.
The survival of the fittest is gone in times of peace. It's the tyranny of the weak. And I agree with you 100% on that.
Yeah.
When things are comfortable, it's like, okay, let's go ahead and enforce mediocrity and people.
Yes.
We need to accept everyone in participation trophies, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as things start to go a little bit to the left, those guys that are toxically masculine assholes, etc., all of a sudden you want the Sylvester Stallones, you want the Arnold Schwarzeneggers, you want those Rambo types, etc. But nowadays you can have Netflix specials with pussy, strange individuals who you don't know what they are racially or gender-wise, and they're the main character of the movie because it's safe times. It's okay to be a strange, weirdo motherfucker and be the hero. And it's like, no, that's not the way the world works.
And you know what's even deeper than that?
Yeah.
Is that the critical thinkers are punished.
Facts.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're actively discouraged from asking questions and challenging things and having conversations. Dude, there's people who are mad that I'm coming on this podcast.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
But I'll tell you, almost every podcast I've done or every interview I've done with, whether it's with Joe Rogan, it's with Tucker Carlson, it's with Fresh and Fit, it's with Candace Owens, every single one, I've had at least a few people tell me I shouldn't do it. Right? No, you shouldn't talk to those guys like they're this. Oh my gosh, right? I know Andrew Tate. He was the fourth guest on my podcast back in 2019.
That was a great interview.
Thank you, man.
I listened to it.
I've hung out with him in Romania. I've hung out with him in Dubai. And people are like, oh my gosh, like Zuby, I've had people even email me and be, I can't believe that you did an interview with him. I can't. And I'm like, dude,
isn't it incredible how people react to someone that you've known for years as if they're fucking a tyrant or some shit?
Yeah, it's really weird. But this discouragement of you can't associate with this person, you can't talk. It's like, why are people so afraid of a conversation? Right? You don't even know what we're going to talk about. We haven't spoken yet. No,
yeah.
No. Why don't you let us talk? Why don't you listen? And then you can come and listen to it and be like, oh, you know what? I don't like this, or I agree with this, or I disagree. It's like, we haven't even spoken yet.
It is because they've painted a picture of the person before they even met them or listen to what they had to say.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, think about it. If you're going to live in a society where social media is influencing people, okay, cool. I might not know you, but I saw a clip about you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? He's an asshole.
Yep.
He's a misogynist. Wait a minute. Have you ever met him before? No. You watch the full content? No. Wait a second. He isn't.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? You will never find out because you never took the time to critical think.
There's been a bunch of girls that came on the show that thought we were like crazy misogynists, but then when they actually sat there and had a discussion with us and saw that all of our views are typically rooted in biological fact, not feelings, They're like, okay, that makes sense why you would say that. But, you know, they take clips out of context. They did the same thing to Andrew Tate. Some dumb bitch earlier today. Oh, and she hit me up too. I saw your clips. I'm good. I don't give a fuck, bitch. On scene. Get the fuck out of here. The fuck, like, a fucking multi-millionaire. I don't give a fuck what you say, bitch. Fuck out of here. But the thing is that we live in a world where, again, goes back to that critical thinking thing. Well, I heard and I saw this 30-second clip, so that must mean you're an asshole. So let me get this straight. You got a 30-second clip from a 2-hour plus podcast from someone that hates us that purposely cut that clip up to make it sound a certain way, speed it up, whatever, add some effects, whatever, to make you look crazy. You're gonna go off of what that person says. But here's the thing about these weirdos on that side. If you go ahead and you judge them off their weird beliefs or whatever, or you challenge their belief system, whoa, you're a bigot, blah, 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 blah. I'm simply asking you to explain how I'm incorrect. You can't even do it.
Yep.
You have to go ahead and just call me a name or an insult, whatever it may be, to go ahead and appease your own ego. But I can literally like dissect your talking points from a statistical standpoint why you're fucking wrong. But you can't do that to me, and you want to sit here and just call me a name. And that's what they do. Who hurt you? You're hurt, blah, blah, blah. What does that change, if anything? Let's say I am hurt. Well, number one, that's fucked up because, you know, that's hating against people that are hurt. But let's say I am these things that you say. What changes the fact? You could go ahead and take a raging racist, someone from the KKK that hates a bunch of Tobys. I'm raging racist. What's 1 + 1? 2. Does that change the fact that it's still fucking 2, even though a racist said it? Doesn't change it, does it? It's still a fucking fact. But people are more concerned about who said the fact versus the fact in itself,
or how you said it,
or how you said it.
The tone.
I didn't like that tone.
I don't like the tone.
You know what I'm saying? It's fucking crazy. That's the clown world we're in now. They're more concerned with who said it and how they said it versus what is being said. And that's why we live in a fucking clown world, because people are more concerned with how things make them feel versus if it's real.
Yeah.
And that is why we have a bunch of fucking losers nowadays that are fat slobs that are fucking broke because they want to go off of how they feel.
Do you know one of the biggest problems in the West, I'd say the second biggest after absent fathers, is that it has been consciously or subconsciously decided across the society, the culture, and the country that people's subjective feelings are more important than objective facts. And this runs across everything. This explains what you were just talking about. This explains the things going over the past couple years. This explains the fat acceptance and whatever you want to call. Right? It's been
equality of outcome.
All of it. It's all been determined that people's men and women's sports, people's feelings are more important.
We should get paid the same as the male soccer players.
Yes, that's more important than objective facts and reality.
Yep.
And if you're someone who leans towards objective facts and reality and rational thinking and logic and so on, and you're not willing to just completely accommodate every single person's feelings, including the weakest link, right? The weakest, most neurotic people out there, you're demonized. And I'll tell you something deep that I've noticed is every single person who comes to prominence, who promotes and encourages men's improvement, will be vilified and attacked.
Yep. And canceled eventually.
It doesn't matter it doesn't matter how you're coming at from the Jordan Peterson perspective or the Joe Rogan perspective or your perspective or the Tate perspective, whatever it is. If you encourage men to self-improve and to be Kevin Samuels, there are people who are going to vilify you and attack you. And I find that very fascinating.
Yeah. And the thing is that no one will bat an eye when they talk about female empowerment.
Nope.
You're never going to catch us taking a female content creator that teaches women how to empower themselves and become better women. You're never going to catch us on here saying, you fucking stupid bigot hoes. You guys are fucked up.
No.
You guys are being, sexist towards men. We don't give a fuck what they do over there.
No.
But for some odd, strange reason, they want to go ahead and use our clips to say, oh, these guys are toxic misogynists. They're telling men to go and get in shape and become better versions of themselves, and they should pay on dates, etc. They don't want to talk about how we tell guys there isn't burden performance, and when you take a chick on a date, you need to lead everything, you need to protect and provide. They don't clip that shit.
No.
They only clip the parts where we say, oh, well, women are incapable of making decisions in general. No! Misogyny.
Yep.
But then you ask that same girl, what do you want to have for lunch? I don't know.
Do you know
what the fuck?
Do you know where I think a lot of it stems from? Is I think a lot of people have been brainwashed to believe, and this is not a new thing, that life is this zero-sum game. So if one person or one group is getting ahead in some way, shape, or form, that's somehow detrimental to other. Yeah, that right. So if you make $1 million,
I can't make $1 million.
Somehow that you've made poverty worse, right? They think
that's true.
They think everything's zero sum. Like there's just a set amount of pie. And so if someone takes a big slice of it, now there's not enough for everyone. They think this about money. They think about this about dating and relationships.
Girls
they think
too.
about popularity, but they think about it with everything. And they apply,
But even if it did, meritocracy. Fuck
Yeah.
you guys.
but
That's my view. Sorry. My bad.
But the thing is, they apply this at the group level as well. So I
Okay.
think this is why you get this phenomenon where if someone is encouraging men to get better, it's viewed as, they think that to uplift one group, you have to tear down another.
And that's not
They
true.
think
Yeah.
that they think that to uplift black people, you have to tear down white people,
That's true.
right?
Yeah.
They think that to uplift women, you have to tear down men. You have to uplift, like, whatever it is. And so when people are stuck in this scarcity mindset, I think that's why they view all of these things a threat,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's where a lot of hate comes from, right? Because you see someone, like, if I see someone who's got or is doing something cool that I aspire towards, I don't feel any type of hate or jealousy. I'm like, yo, how did you do that? I want to learn from that person.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you. I want to learn. I'm inspired, right? I'm like, yo, look at what these guys have done with their YouTube channel and their podcast. Like, yo, that's dope. Someone else sees that and they think, oh, because they've done this, now I've somehow lost something. And here's another thought. Let me know what you guys think about this. I have a theory, especially when it pertains to men, that men are always building or destroying.
Okay.
Men and boys are always building or destroying.
I agree.
If a man does not have a positive, creative outlet, if a man is not on his mission, if he's not building something, right? Building a family, building his career, building his empire, building his job, he's going to be destroying. There's no neutral. He's going to be destroying. He'll be destroying himself, or he'll be trying to destroy your project. He's trying to destroy your building. He's trying to destroy your, right? So if you're not building yourself up, that energy is going to go out elsewhere. I don't know if women are the same in this regard, but I think men, and you look through history, men are always building or destroying, right? Physically, everything you see was built by a man. Look around you, everything you see was built by men. Look at the whole city, all those buildings were built by men.
Yeah.
All the like men build everything, but men also destroy crap.
Oh wait, no, I know a woman that's a construction person. Though. You fucking bigots.
Men are always building or destroying.
That's a very good point.
No, that's a fact, bro. And real quick on the feminist thing with sports, because I laughed about this, because these feminists will sit there and cry and complain. MLS, they get paid too much. The girls need to get paid the same, or WNBA, whatever. Where the fuck are you hoes at the WNBA games? I don't see no feminists in the stands. Equal pay. You know, marching there, watching the games. None of them are doing that shit. None of them. Like, the thing is with these crazy people is that they sit there and they'll support something on paper,
Yes,
but they're not there actually supporting it in practice.
it's because they don't understand economics.
You know,
They don't understand that you are paid. Like, these people don't get economics. These are people who want $30 minimum wage.
You're paid on
They-
value.
They don't understand economics, right?
The WNBA is subsidized by the NBA.
Yes.
It shouldn't even exist.
So this is another. I mean, everyone should learn some basic economics. But another thing that happens is, oh man,
There should be one basketball league.
I've
Men and
lost my
women can
train of
both
thought,
play. Put
Yeah.
the best athletes in there. That's the way I look at it. You guys want equality? You want to get rid of sexism? I would argue this. Here's another controversial take. Sexism inherently benefits women only.
Oh, interesting. Okay, let's go.
It does not benefit men. I literally, if you look at the majority of all the things that are sexist, most of them benefit women by default. In the workplace, different standards for women in sports, different standards for women in physical labor jobs like being a police officer, fireman, etc., military, okay, affirmative action, equal opportunity employments, etc. A lot of times women will get a job based on, even though they're less qualified, because of sexism. The only thing I could think of from a sexist standpoint that benefits men over women is that men are not necessarily admonished for being promiscuous. But I really can't think of another something else with sexism that doesn't benefit women to a degree. I would argue a lot of things that are put in place that are sexist in nature are actually put there in place to equalize things between men and women and give women a fighting chance.
I know what you mean. I do know what you mean.
Because if we put women in the same sports as men, there'd be no female athletes. They would never be able to compete. You take Serena Williams, one of the best tennis players of all time. She lost to a drunk dude ranked like 100 something.
Yeah.
That could hung over, destroyed her in an exhibition game, and she's cream of the crop. And this is biology. This is truth. This is facts. This is not me just talking shit. But sexism in itself, these feminists will sit there. That's sexist. That's fucked up. It benefits women.
Do you know something? You ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say, are you staying for the girls?
Sure, let's do it.
Cool. Because they're all here now.
All right.
Cool.
So we're trying to end things quickly. All right. Let me. Do we have any chats real
Somebody
fast?
gotta do it, bro.
Okay, $20. Years of military training for sir/ma'am did not prepare us veterans for this they/them nonsense. We have home for a few years and look what happens. Yeah, bro, that's what happens. $20. Glenn Lawrence. Shout out to you fellas. Hope you use my video on KRW to expose that clown. Okay. $20 from Alvin. Sam goes, I do not recommend Candace Owens. She would be a plant for that one guy who hate on FNF. I don't know what you mean. Samuel. Your channel helped me get on my 80 hours a week. I'm going to process it. Then if they try to cancel you, free the GOAT, Top G, RIP the Queen. Can't wait to see you guys in London. Timing's everything. Yeah, we'll be there on the 18th, guys. Women want equality because she does not want to overcome the trials and tribulations placed onto men. Okay. I hold doors for women all the time. Sees when I say bitches does nominate. What?
Glenn Lawrence.
That's from Glenn Lawrence. Okay, let me read this. He goes, I hold doors for bitches all the time. Sees when I say bitches does non-binary. So when I see a weak man, I hold the door for him just as I would for a sexy woman. LOL. Oh, he's talking about men. Okay, I see what you did there, sir.
Yeah, non-binary.
Okay. Frank Sonara goes, even the Canadian forces are lowering the bar to the point where you can't say sir or ma'am to your commanding officer anymore. The military has lost its focus on the real mission. A lot of combat veterans early retired. Yeah, bro. I went on a whole rant why I don't think women should be in combat positions, period, in the military. $20 from TSK 907. And most of them don't want to be in it anyway. So it's like I'm actually helping them out. Exactly like women, so smart and knowledgeable in their own career, but dumb as fuck in common knowledge reality. All right, Vestimonis goes, only silly liberals won't realize the finesse by now. I can't hang around these people. Yeah, bro, it is what it is. Zuby, have you ever thought about rapping? The hip-hop industry is dying. You could revive it or have another festival better than Rolling Loud, but don't charge the white people extra fees like your last festival.
My last festival, what?
Oh, no. I think they did that in another festival. Okay. They charge the white people more. Here's another thing, too, as well. Like, it's okay to be racist against white people, but anything, if you're, you do anything towards, colored people or protected classes, considered racism or bigotry. But it's open season on Caucasians.
Yeah, it's whack.
That's whack. Another thing, too, that I look at it like it's crazy.
Yeah. Do you know what I've learned is a lot of people are totally okay with racism and sexism as long as they feel it's aimed at the right direction.
Bam.
Yeah.
Fantastic point.
That's true.
That's a good point.
They're totally okay with it. They're just okay with their version. There's versions they don't like, and there's some that they're totally fine with.
Yeah. My thing is that, like, you can't accept racism when it suits you.
No.
You gotta look at it all the way. I hate racism, but I hate racism towards everyone.
Agreed.
Towards blacks, whites, whatever. Even the Anglo-Saxon wasp that you guys hate. Yes, you could be racist towards a white person too. I've heard people literally say,
I know.
It's not racism if you do it to white people. What the fuck? Like, what?
The only color you should see is green.
Yeah,
that comes from
fucking
academia.
ridiculous.
Yep.
Want to know what's ironic? Many people in the chat are those liberal that want to censor voices and take things out of context. Book Candace Owens, homegirl, will bring the smoke. All right, cool. All right, guys. So, guys, there's 5,000 pussy on here. Like the video because this podcast is probably going to have to get taken down because it was too bait. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to keep it up. But we might get canceled for it. So go ahead and like the goddamn video. We got some girls in the house right now.
Where can I find you, brother?
Yo, you can find me on all social media at Zuby Music, Z-U-B. Oh, what am I saying? Yeah, Zuby Music, Z-U-B-Y Music. And you want to check out my music merchandise, go to teamzuby.com. Just launched the new website, teamzuby.com. Check it out.
Bam. All his links are below, guys, by the way, to include his newest song. Mo put all the links in there, so check us out. Check out Zuby. Subscribe to his YouTube channel. Follow him on Twitter. Puts a lot of bass stuff on there. And check him out on Instagram as well, man. So we'll catch you guys back here with some lovely ladies. Like the goddamn video. Chris, we'll call it?
Yeah, 10:30.
All right, 10:30. So we're back here in about 50 minutes, guys.
And sub to the channel.
Yeah, sub to the channel, ninjas.
Peace.
Because this conversation was too base for a lot of people. Like the video. Peace.